Did you know that reptilian aliens from the Draco constellation have infiltrated human society? And that these reptilian overlords have been secretly manipulating our leaders to start wars for our natural resources? The true extent of the Draco Empire's control goes far beyond what we understand about the New World Order. Ancient Sumerian tablets mention this alien race controlling our planet. Throughout human history, tales of reptilian beings have slithered through the shadows of mythology and folklore. From the Nagas of Hinduism, serpentine deities of wisdom and power, to the dragon gods revered in ancient Sumer, reptilian figures have occupied a prominent place in the collective consciousness. Even in modern ufology, accounts of reptilian encounters persist, painting a picture of beings both terrifying and enigmatic. But these are more than just stories of the underworld. But what if these reptilian figures are not mere figments of human imagination, but rather representatives of a real, extraterrestrial civilization known as the Draco Empire? Originating from the Alpha Draconis star system, this ancient reptilian race is said to have spread its influence throughout the galaxy, establishing colonies and manipulating civilization to serve its own dark purposes. They are known as the ancient reptilian race that seeks to destroy and harvest any species that is not draconian or reptilian. Their homeworld was destroyed by the Anunnaki many millennia ago, and they have vowed vengeance for the destruction. The potential consequences of the Draco Empire's influence on humanity are staggering. Could they be the hidden hand behind the rise and fall of ancient civilizations, subtly guiding the course of human history? Are they the architects of our religious beliefs, manipulating our spiritual understanding to maintain control? Do they lurk in the shadows of modern power structures, pulling the strings of governments and corporations to orchestrate global events? If one follows the bloodlines, one finds that the global elites are distant descendants of the Draco Empire. The idea of a reptilian elite secretly controlling humanity may sound like the stuff of conspiracy theories, often associated with the New World Order, the Illuminati, and other alleged shadow governments. But what if these theories are simply distorted reflections of a deeper, more unsettling truth? Could these conspiracies be a distraction? The global elites and world leaders are not the ones in control. They are merely puppets to the draconian race. What if there was a war between the Draco Empire and the Anunnaki? Could this galactic war have influenced the trajectory of human civilization, with both sides vying for control of our planet and its resources? The Anunnaki wars of old were merely skirmishes against the reptiles, a small fraction of what the Draco Empire had in store for humanity. But what if the Draco Empire is not just a myth, but a real force that has been shaping human history for millennia? Let's begin by exploring the origins of the Draco Empire and their alleged connection to the Anunnaki. The core of the Draco Empire's story lies in their intertwined history with the Anunnaki, a relationship marked by conflict and animosity. Did you know that some theories suggest the Draco homeworld was destroyed by the Anunnaki in a resource war? This single event ignited a fire of vengeance within the Draco, setting the stage for their animosity towards the Anunnaki and, perhaps, humanity itself. It all comes down to the Draco's perception of this destruction, not as an accident of cosmic events, but as a deliberate act of aggression, and their need for galactic expansion after the loss of their planet. This reveals a deeper pattern that we'll explore concerning the Draco's motivations and their interactions with other civilizations. To understand the early conflict between the Draco and the Anunnaki, let us turn to the ancient text, the Enuma Elish. Within this Babylonian epic of creation, we find descriptions that can be interpreted as a cosmic battle between reptilian and humanoid factions. Tiamat, often associated with reptilian symbolism, is depicted as a chaotic force battling against Marduk, a deity linked to the Anunnaki. Is this a mere mythological tale, Or does it echo a real conflict between these two powerful extraterrestrial races? Consider this passage. The Lord rested. He surveyed the corpse. The valiant Marduk split her, like a shellfish, into two parts. Could this splitting of Tiamat symbolize the destruction of the Draco homeworld? The Draco saw this as an act of war, vowing to exact revenge. The significance of this alleged Draco-Anunnaki conflict cannot be overstated. It set the stage for the Draco's later interactions with humanity, influencing their perception of us as either pawns or potential resources. The implications of a galaxy with these two ancient races are huge. Are humans just caught in the middle? This explains why humans are still at war with one another today, fighting over resources as ordered from a higher entity. Some might argue that the Enuma Elish is merely a mythological story, lacking any basis in reality. However, perhaps this is more than just a story. Perhaps it is a symbolic representation of a galactic war that has been raging for millennia, and this particular story tells the future of galactic events and the eventual outcome. How did this initial conflict shape the Draco Empire's expansion throughout the galaxy, and what strategies did they employ to conquer new territories? Is the need for resources the reason why they had to expand so rapidly throughout the galaxy? To answer this, we must delve into their technology and warfare. The Draco Empire possesses advanced technology and weaponry far beyond human comprehension. Accounts detail advanced spacecraft capable of interstellar travel, energy weapons that can obliterate planets, and mind control devices used to subjugate entire populations. Consider the Vedic texts of ancient India, which describe flying machines known as Vimanas engaging in aerial battles with advanced weaponry. Are these merely fanciful tales, or do they provide glimpses into the reality of ancient alien warfare? Some accounts speak of weapons that could dry up rivers and level mountains, technologies that resonate with modern claims of Draco weaponry. Is it possible to travel throughout the galaxy by opening up portals through stargates, and is this the reason why the technology is so advanced? The implications of such advanced technology are profound. Does this influence how we wage war with one another? Are we simply mimicking the Draco's tactics on a smaller scale, using our own technology to dominate and control? It is possible the human race is being used as soldiers for these galactic wars. One might argue that the ancient Vedic texts are not literal accounts of alien warfare, but rather symbolic representations of internal struggles or natural phenomena. Compared to other religious documents, is there something similar that could be a sign of some kind of technology that was misinterpreted? The prevalence of such advanced technology across different regions of the world seems too similar to be merely coincidence. But that is not all. There is the symbolism to consider. Is there a connection of the serpent symbolism that is seen throughout the world? Could this be the symbol that connects every culture in the world? It all goes back to the Draco. Throughout history, many civilizations have depicted serpentine beings in their artwork and mythology. In Sumerian and Egyptian cultures, serpent symbolism is prevalent, with figures like Enki/E and the pharaohs often associated with snakes. Analyze the serpent imagery associated with Enki/E in Sumerian mythology and its potential connection to the Draco. Present the theory that the pharaohs were descendants of the Draco, pointing to elongated skulls and serpent worship practices. One can see the connection if one opens their eyes. But where do they live? What about the Underworld? Is it a literal or metaphorical realm controlled by the Draco Empire? Does the Underworld help them travel without being seen? Are the geographical locations of these alleged Draco bases real? Argue the Underworld is their place to hide from the human race. Some believe the Draco have bases in the Earth's crust. What if they were always here? They are hidden using advanced technology, but whistleblowers and abductees can testify, although that may be seen as anecdotal. The vast network of underground tunnels and facilities, some natural and some artificially constructed, offers a potential haven for the Draco. The Underworld is a maze that can take one throughout the planet. What if the entrance to the Underworld was right under our feet? Given the Draco's alleged control and influence, who, if anyone, opposes them? Does the Galactic Federation have anything to do with this? To answer this, we need to discuss the Galactic Federation. There exists the concept of a Galactic Federation or other benevolent alien groups that are allegedly opposing the Draco Empire. These groups, often described as humanoid or angelic in appearance, are said to be dedicated to preserving freedom and preventing the Draco from achieving total galactic domination. Detail the alleged goals and strategies of the Galactic Federation in resisting the Draco's influence. How does the Galactic Federation intend to wage war against the Draco? If the Draco are as powerful as the accounts suggest, what is the plan? Let's discuss the implications of an active galactic war unbeknownst to humans. Is the human race being used as cannon fodder? Are we being protected? The Draco-Anunnaki War could be the reason. Many claim to be in contact with the Galactic Federation, but there is little evidence that there is even one. Many might even say this is a New Age concept, the constant push and pull of different entities. Could this be why the human race has not united as one? But here's what most people miss. The Draco Empire also allegedly have a hybrid program, where they are breeding with humans to create a new race of Draco-human hybrids. This hybrid race is said to be more intelligent, stronger, and more loyal to the Draco cause, serving as a bridge between the two species and solidifying the Draco's control over humanity. In summary, we have explored the origins of the Draco Empire, their alleged connection to the Anunnaki, their galactic expansion, their influence on ancient civilizations, and the potential opposition from the Galactic Federation. We talked about the serpent symbolism, the ancient wars, and the advanced technology. The evidence suggests that the Draco Empire is a real and powerful force that has been shaping human history for millennia. But the story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion, but we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next is even more shocking. Why is there no concrete evidence? But here's what most people miss. The true manipulators are the Draco. The Anunnaki were merely pawns in a much grander scheme, puppets dancing to a tune orchestrated from the shadows. The core of the Draco's control lies in its subtlety, a web of influence spun from behind the scenes, manipulating events and steering humanity toward a predetermined destiny. This intricate manipulation has sparked what is now known as the hybrid program, a clandestine project shrouded in secrecy and whispered about only in the darkest corners of the internet. Is the Draco system really so complex that the human race cannot comprehend their machinations? The ultimate goal is the enslavement of humanity. To truly grasp the scope of the Draco hybrid program, one must first confront the unsettling evidence found in abduction accounts. According to numerous testimonies, individuals across the globe have reported being abducted and subjected to genetic manipulation. These accounts often share disturbing similarities, detailing experiences of forced insemination, the harvesting of genetic material, and encounters with reptilian beings. Consider the alleged abduction scenarios involving the insemination of the human race. These are not isolated incidents, but rather a pattern that spans decades, continents, and cultures. What links all these scenarios together? They all point to the Draco. The physical and psychological effects of these abduction experiences are often profound, leaving lasting scars on the alleged abductees. Many report experiencing intense fear, anxiety, and paranoia, as well as physical symptoms such as unexplained scars, implants, and reproductive issues. Citations from alleged abductees detail these horrific accounts from their personal experiences. According to one abductee, I remember being paralyzed on a table, surrounded by tall, reptilian figures. They were performing some sort of procedure on me, and I could feel a sharp pain in my abdomen. So-and-so was saying. This is just one of many similar accounts, each painting a disturbing picture of genetic manipulation and experimentation. Are these coincidences, or are they evidence of a larger, more sinister agenda? The goals of the Draco hybrid program are as chilling as they are ambitious. Theories abound, suggesting that the Draco seek to create a new race of Draco-human hybrids to serve their interests. This hybrid race, it is believed, would possess the intelligence and adaptability of humans, combined with the strength, resilience, and ruthlessness of the Draco. A disturbing thought, to say the least. The accounts of human abduction serve not just for control, but rather for scientific reasons and the need for resources. According to one theory, they are creating a race of super soldiers, loyal only to the Draco Empire, to wage war against their enemies throughout the galaxy. But one must consider this. While some dismiss abduction accounts as unreliable or fabricated, it is important to note the striking similarities between many of these accounts, despite the people being very different. But if the Draco seek to control humanity, how do they achieve this on a global scale? What means do they use to exert their influence and manipulate human behavior? The answer, it seems, lies in a sophisticated control grid. The concept of a Draco-established control grid is as pervasive as it is insidious. This grid, it is alleged, manipulates human thoughts, emotions, and behaviors through various means, including media, technology, and even subliminal messaging. According to conspiracy theorists, the media plays a crucial role in this control grid, shaping public opinion and influencing people's decisions. Showcasing the manipulation of people is what they are doing through modern-day news. Conspiracy theories connecting 5G technology with mind control capabilities abound, with some claiming that the electromagnetic frequencies emitted by these networks can be used to influence human thoughts and emotions. What if this is the main reason the human race fights with one another? The mechanisms of this control grid are complex and multifaceted, involving a combination of psychological warfare, propaganda, and technological manipulation. Consider the role of subliminal messaging in advertising and entertainment. It has been suggested that these messages, hidden beneath the conscious level of awareness, can influence human behavior without people even realizing it. But if these techniques work, then the accounts of electromagnetic frequencies can be used in mind control. It is important to note that there is evidence of similar experiments done on animals, where electromagnetic frequencies have been used to alter their behavior. So-and-so was saying. While there is no definitive scientific proof that this technology is being used on humans, the possibility remains a chilling reminder of the potential for technological manipulation. But are there limits to this control? Can this insidious grid be avoided or fought? The answer, it seems, may lie within the Draco Empire itself. The idea of internal opposition to the Draco Empire, even within their own ranks, offers a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak picture. According to some accounts, there are Draco individuals who have defected or rebelled against the Empire's agenda, choosing to side with humanity. The reptilian brain, often associated with the Draco, is a prime example. There might be accounts of Draco individuals who have defected or rebelled against the Empire's agenda. Is it possible for the reptilian brain to be turned off? If so, can it be trained? The motivations of these dissenters are varied, ranging from a desire to liberate humanity from Draco control to ethical and moral considerations. Discussing the ethical and moral considerations that may drive some Draco individuals to oppose the Empire's actions, they do not want to see the human race as subservient. Detail accounts of Draco dissenters who have provided information or assistance to humans. So and so was saying. According to one defector, I realized that the Draco's agenda was ultimately destructive and that humanity deserved a chance to determine its own destiny. So and so was saying. These Draco defectors believe that the reptiles were once peaceful until the human race started to become more advanced than them. So, how can one prevail against the Draco agenda? Is it possible to defeat such a powerful and insidious force? In summary, we have explored the Draco hybrid program, the control grid, and the internal opposition within the Draco Empire. The evidence suggests that the Draco Empire is a complex and multifaceted force that has been shaping human history for millennia. This is all still secret, but the pieces are starting to come together. Is it possible for the human race to come together to defeat the Draco? It's a concept worth exploring. The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion. And what are we to do with this information? It is what they don't want us to know. The more we know, the better we can protect ourselves. The grip of the Draco control grid may seem unbreakable, an inescapable prison of the mind, yet the possibility of individual liberation remains. It is crucial to understand that not all who exist within the reptilian spectrum are aligned with the Draco agenda. Just as humanity has its share of both benevolent and malevolent individuals, so too does the Draco Empire. Some seek not to enslave, but to assist in the awakening of human consciousness and the attainment of true freedom. The reptilian brain can be overcome. It is not a life sentence. But how? The key to prevailing against the Draco's influence lies within the individual, in cultivating a connection to the universe and awakening one's own consciousness. Techniques such as meditation, heightened awareness, and the conscious fostering of human connections can serve as powerful tools to disrupt the Draco's control over the reptilian brain. Consider the accounts of individuals who have consciously employed these methods to successfully counteract mind control. According to those who have made the journey, consistent meditation helps to quiet the noise. But what specific types of meditation are most effective? Practices such as mindfulness meditation, which involves focusing on the present moment without judgment, and transcendental meditation, which utilizes a mantra to quiet the mind, have been cited as particularly beneficial. Focus on the now, not on the past and not on the future. The pineal gland, often referred to as the third eye, serves as a gateway to connecting with the universe and transcending the limitations of the physical realm. This small, pinecone-shaped gland, located in the center of the brain, is believed to be the seat of intuition, psychic ability, and spiritual insight. It is no coincidence that the Draco seek to suppress the pineal gland through various means, including fluoridated water, processed foods, and electromagnetic frequencies. What they don't want you to know is that a healthy pineal gland opens up a world of possibilities. But what about the pituitary gland and its influence over the reptilian brain? The pituitary gland, located directly below the hypothalamus, plays a crucial role in regulating hormones, growth, and reproduction. It also influences the activity of the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, which is closely linked to the reptilian brain. By controlling the pituitary gland, the Draco can manipulate emotions, instincts, and behaviors, reinforcing their control over humanity. The key to control is to trick you into thinking you have none. It has been argued that meditation and human connection are insufficient to combat such pervasive mind control. Many who embark on these paths report experiencing no discernible change, leading to disillusionment and abandonment of these practices. However, it is essential to understand that these connections act as a counter-programming force, gradually rewiring the brain and disrupting the Draco's insidious influence. Consider this. The Draco's control grid is not absolute. It is a system of probabilities, of tendencies, not of certainties. Each act of meditation, each moment of genuine human connection, weakens the grid's grasp, creating space for individual autonomy and conscious choice. It is said that only when a person understands they can be controlled are they able to overcome. The human race needs a renaissance. But what recourse remains if the control grid is too strong, if the connection to the universe proves elusive, and the individual finds themselves trapped in the Draco's web? Is there any possibility of assistance from outside, from forces beyond our immediate perception? The potential for intervention from benevolent extraterrestrial forces, such as the Galactic Federation, offers a glimmer of hope for humanity. According to numerous accounts, these beings have been monitoring Earth for millennia, patiently awaiting the moment when they can safely intervene to assist in humanity's liberation. The Galactic Federation, a coalition of advanced civilizations dedicated to upholding universal laws and promoting peace and harmony throughout the galaxy, is said to be actively working to dismantle the Draco's control grid and awaken humanity to its true potential. But what exactly is the purpose of the Galactic Federation? They serve as a beacon of light in the darkness, a testament to the existence of higher powers that transcend the limitations of the Draco Empire. They claim to have the ability to protect the human race from extinction. Consider the types of extraterrestrial contact that humanity has been making, both overtly and covertly. From alleged encounters with benevolent Pleiadians to clandestine collaborations with more ambiguous entities, the spectrum of extraterrestrial interaction is vast and complex. These encounters, whether real or imagined, speak to a yearning for connection with something greater than ourselves, a desire to transcend the limitations of our physical reality. Perhaps the biggest thing holding us back is our own fear. One must wonder who put that fear in us. In summary, we have explored techniques for overcoming the reptilian brain, both from within and with the potential assistance of outside forces. The evidence, though often shrouded in secrecy and misinformation, suggests that it is indeed possible to disrupt the Draco's control grid and reclaim individual and collective sovereignty. The human race is capable of prevailing if the majority allows it. But why is the reptilian brain so difficult to overcome? Its roots run deep, tapping into primal instincts and emotional vulnerabilities that have been exploited by the Draco for millennia. The fear is real, but the possibility to overcome that fear is just as real. Is it possible for the human race to come together to defeat the Draco? The answer depends on our willingness to confront the truth, embrace our potential, and unite against a common enemy. The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the shocking revelations that await in the conclusion, and what will happen to those who chose to stand idle. Did you know that the Draco Empire's ambition extends beyond mere conquest? Their ultimate goal is nothing less than the complete transformation of Earth into a resource hub, a galactic gas station, if you will, and a staging ground for their domination of the cosmos. But how do they intend to achieve such a feat? The key lies in reshaping the human race itself, molding us into a compliant and easily managed labor force. You may ask yourself, how is this possible? The Draco believe that certain reptilian traits, such as cold calculation, ruthlessness, and a lack of empathy, are highly desirable for maintaining control. Human emotions, spirituality, and creativity are viewed as weaknesses, vulnerabilities to be suppressed or eliminated. The Draco hybrid program, therefore, is not simply about creating elite soldiers, but about accelerating this transformation, infusing the human gene pool with reptilian characteristics to create a new type of human, subservient and obedient to their Draco overlords. But what is the overall plan to take over the human race as a workforce? To fully answer this, one must consider the genetic manipulation that has been inflicted on the human race. Evidence suggests that the human genome has been deliberately manipulated, suppressing certain abilities and predisposing us to obedience. Is it possible that the DNA has been altered to make the human race easier to control? Consider the vast stretches of junk DNA within our genetic code. Mainstream science dismisses these non-coding regions as evolutionary leftovers, but could they contain deactivated genes, remnants of a time when humanity possessed greater psychic or physical abilities the Draco sought to eliminate? Perhaps these dormant genes hold the key to unlocking our full potential, a potential the Draco actively seek to keep dormant. Moreover, the theory presents that certain genetic markers associated with docility, susceptibility to mind control, or a predisposition to accepting authority have been artificially introduced into the human genome. Are we being farmed and controlled through our genetics? As we start to understand this manipulation, it is important to comprehend the impact on our societies. What are the implications of this Draco manipulation for human society? The suppression of human potential is only the beginning. The perpetuation of conflict, division, and resource scarcity serves to keep humanity weak and distracted, preventing us from uniting against our true oppressors. This keeps the human race bickering among themselves. Humans are already seeing the effects of this manipulation, with the rise in mental health cases and the limited potential for growth in many individuals. Could this rise be contributed to these genetic changes? It is important to elaborate on how these genetic changes affect different bloodlines and genetic heritages. It is important to note that these interpretations of genetic evidence are speculative and lack concrete proof. More genetic studies are required to understand the full scope. But regardless of whether this is true, it is important to know: how is technology used to enforce this genetic manipulation? Technology plays a crucial role in amplifying the Draco's control over humanity. From subtle forms of manipulation to blatant acts of coercion, technology is a powerful tool in their arsenal. It is being said that they are using these tools to control the human race. The Draco utilize different technologies to subtly control us. Artificial intelligence and nanotechnology, in particular, hold immense potential for further modifying human DNA and manipulating brain activity. Is this really happening? And how could this be happening? AI algorithms are being used to track and influence human behavior, subtly nudging us towards predetermined choices and reinforcing desired patterns of thought. From targeted advertising to social media echo chambers, AI shapes our perceptions and beliefs without our conscious awareness. This is how control can be achieved. Furthermore, nanotechnology could be used to deliver genetic payloads directly into human cells, altering our DNA at a fundamental level. Nanobots could also be used to manipulate brain activity at a cellular level, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. All of this is being done without human consent. Consider the societal impact of this technological control. A controlled and subservient population is the ultimate goal, and technology is the means to achieve it. Accounts of AI taking over are becoming increasingly common. From self-driving cars to automated factories, AI is rapidly replacing human workers, creating a sense of economic insecurity and dependence on technology. Connect this to the overall goal of a resource hub and a base for galactic domination. Remember that all these technological advancements are happening in tandem to each other. While some may argue that these technologies are neutral tools that can be used for good as well as evil, the reality is that they are being used for control. The potential for abuse is simply too great to ignore. Acknowledge the argument, but that those neutral tools are being used for control. But what about the Anunnaki? What role do they play in all of this? According to some, the Anunnaki were not the masterminds behind this agenda, but rather enforcers or intermediaries in the Draco's grand scheme. The Draco needed to control the Anunnaki in order to control humanity. Is this the reason for the wars that we read about in the ancient texts? To understand, one must detail the chain of command and how they operate. The Anunnaki served as overseers, managing the human workforce and enforcing the Draco's directives. They were powerful, yes, but ultimately subservient to the reptilian overlords. Was this all a proxy war? Specific evidence of this agreement can be found in certain texts, where the Anunnaki are depicted as intermediaries between humanity and a higher power. These texts suggest that the Anunnaki were tasked with managing human affairs, but they were not the ultimate authority. The Draco ultimately control the Anunnaki, but what are the implications of this control? And what are the consequences of such manipulation? The implications of this control are far-reaching. This manipulation challenges free will and human potential. If we are being genetically engineered and technologically controlled, are we truly free? And what does that mean for the human race? If the human race doesn't make a connection, it is being doomed for control. All the wars are futile due to the Draco's planning, and the human race will continue to suffer as a result. Despite all of this, there is a chance of the human race breaking free if the right connection is made. Are we destined to be slaves, or can we reclaim our destiny? If the Draco agenda is so powerful, are there any weaknesses or vulnerabilities in the system? Despite the Draco's vast power, their system is not without its flaws. Internal dissent, awakened human consciousness, and the potential for intervention from benevolent extraterrestrial forces all represent vulnerabilities that could ultimately lead to their downfall. Are we already starting to see these vulnerabilities? The awakened human consciousness is one of their greatest fears. The awakening process is key to defeating the Draco. As more and more people become aware of the Draco's control grid, their power diminishes. This is why meditation and human connection are essential tools in the fight for freedom. But the increase of meditation and connection to one another is a sign of the reptilian brain lessening. As we connect with one another, we weaken their control. In summary, we have explored the Draco's ultimate plan, the genetic manipulation and amplification that is used by technology, and the potential for an Anunnaki overthrow. The evidence suggests that they intend to control the human race. The ability to have free will is still in question. How is this control happening without people realizing it? The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the shocking revelations that await in the conclusion, and what the human race will choose. It is important to consider that the Draco's control is not absolute, and the awakening of collective human consciousness represents a significant threat to their agenda. While individual efforts to break free from manipulation are a start, the true key to liberation lies in understanding and disrupting the Draco's influence on the collective human mind. Can collective human consciousness be the key to the Draco's defeat? Humanity's potential for unity and cooperation is what the Draco fear most, because they will lose their control of the human race. Techniques for disrupting the Draco control grid at a collective level involve mass meditations, movements of collective consciousness, and global activism. These methods have been proposed as ways to weaken the Draco's grip on human thought and behavior. Some researchers propose that mass meditations can create a unified field of consciousness, which can then influence events on a global scale. Studies have shown that synchronized global meditations have resulted in reduced crime rates, promoted peace, and increased positive social interaction. But what does this mean for the Draco? The more meditation and peace the human race seeks, the less control the Draco have. Collective movements have also been shown to shift public opinion and challenge the Draco's control over information. Consider the civil rights movement or the anti-war protests of the 1960s. These movements mobilized millions of people to challenge established power structures and demand change. Could these movements be considered a galactic war? Some believe that these are collective ways to fight against the Draco, even if those involved are unaware of their influence. But what is the science behind these techniques? Does collective action truly have an impact on the global power structure? These techniques are rooted in the science of collective consciousness and the concept of the morphic field. The morphic field, developed by Rupert Sheldrake, suggests that there is a collective memory for each species that is constantly being updated by individual experiences. Could humanity shift the morphic field in order to break free? When a critical mass of people adopt a new belief or behavior, it creates a ripple effect that influences others. Collective intention can also influence quantum reality and manifest desired outcomes. The power of thought, focused and amplified by a group, is a force that can challenge even the Draco's control. Even if these techniques don't work, they are not being used for evil. There is a potential for the human race to create a utopia by using them. But what if even these collective efforts are not enough to fully break free from the Draco's influence? Is there a deeper, more fundamental level at which we need to address this problem? What else can the human race do if the Draco maintain the control? What if the human race's collective efforts are only a start, and the Draco are steps ahead of the human race? The concept of the Draco manipulating the timeline to maintain their control has been explored through ancient prophecies and channeled materials, suggesting a war in time, and the Draco's attempts to control the future. It is important to note that the future timeline is not set in stone and is prone to change, with decisions being made in the present. But are the Draco ahead of this? Some believe that the Draco are constantly manipulating the timeline to ensure their continued dominance. Ancient prophecies speak of a future where humanity is enslaved by reptilian beings, and channeled materials describe the Draco's use of advanced technology to manipulate timelines and create false realities. Are these just stories, or is this timeline manipulation already happening? The mechanics of timeline manipulation involve rewriting history, creating false realities, or suppressing timelines that lead to human liberation. This is done by accessing the past and the future and implementing small changes. These changes, in turn, affect the present and steer humanity onto a negative timeline that is preferable to the Draco. Historical events have sudden shifts in culture or technology that could be evidence of timeline interference, such as the sudden rise and fall of civilizations, or the introduction of new technologies that have no clear origin. One must question if these are accidental. Even though timeline manipulation can be seen as fantasy, one must question, what is time? Is it even real? Or are we simply perceiving it linearly? If the Draco are manipulating time, how can we possibly resist such a powerful force? Is there a way to reclaim our own timeline and create a more positive future? Can the human race have a timeline that they decide? The human race can fight back by connecting to their true timeline. Even if the human race is unaware, there is a way to win. One can start by connecting to their true selves and awakening their power. This involves reclaiming your personal timeline by healing past traumas, releasing limiting beliefs, and aligning with your soul's purpose. It is being theorized that trauma is implemented by the Draco in order to take one off their timeline. By connecting to your true timeline, you are severing the Draco's control. There are accounts of how people have connected to their true selves and awakened their power. Is this why reptilians wish to see the human race enslaved? How can this be achieved? Timelines can be seen as vibrations. When one is not tuned into the right vibration, things will fall apart. You'll be out of sync. Reconnecting involves raising your vibration and aligning yourself with your true purpose. Some say that the best way to achieve this is through meditation. By consciously choosing to align with a more positive timeline, you can begin to shift your reality. Is there science behind it? The science behind it involves understanding the principles of quantum physics and the power of consciousness. Reality is not fixed, but is constantly being created by your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. You can use your consciousness to create a new reality for yourself and for the world. While timeline manipulation can be seen as pure science fiction, quantum physics proves this to be true. So, what have we learned? We have explored ways that the human race can make change and sever the Draco's control. If the human race comes together, then change can occur. The story is now coming together, and we will now show you how it all connects. The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion. Did you know that not all Anunnaki were benevolent saviors of humanity? While the narrative often portrays them as gods bestowing civilization, a darker undercurrent suggests internal conflicts and hidden agendas. The core of this undercurrent lies in the complex relationship between Enki, the supposed benefactor of humanity, and reptilian entities, most notably the Draco Empire. But why would Enki, revered as a creator god, align himself with beings often described as malevolent and power-hungry? The answer, veiled in ancient texts and whispered through esoteric circles, is that Enki's ambition outweighed his benevolence, and he allied with reptilians to further his personal agenda, using humanity as pawns in a much larger game. How did this relationship influence human history, and what secrets are buried beneath the sands of time? Now, this is the account of Enki's ambition and dissatisfaction with the Anunnaki hierarchy. Enki, though a prince of Nibiru, felt constrained by the rigid structure of Anunnaki society. As the son of King Anu, Enki was expected to adhere to the established order, but his restless spirit yearned for more power and autonomy. According to Sumerian texts, Enki often clashed with his brother Enlil, who represented the more conservative and controlling faction of the Anunnaki. This conflict fueled Enki's desire to carve out his own dominion and influence, even if it meant aligning himself with unconventional forces. It came to pass that Enki sought allies beyond the Anunnaki ranks, and it was then that he encountered the reptilian entities, beings of immense power and cunning. What did he gain from this alliance, and what did he give up? We find evidence of this alliance in the prevalence of serpent symbolism throughout ancient cultures, suggesting a pervasive serpent cult connected to Enki. The serpent, often associated with knowledge, wisdom, and transformation, became a symbol of Enki himself. Ancient depictions of Enki often portray him with serpentine features or accompanied by serpents, linking him to the reptilian energy. Analyze the story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden, which can be reinterpreted as Enki offering knowledge and liberation from Anunnaki control. Instead of a tale of temptation and sin, the serpent's offer of the forbidden fruit can be seen as Enki's attempt to awaken humanity's potential and break free from Enlil's restrictive rule. "Hearken ye, O man," Enki was saying, "thou must awaken thine eyes and learn of thy true self. Thou art not a mere pawn." How does this serpent cult connect with the elites, and what are the implications for the modern world? Now, let us elaborate on the long-term goals of the serpent cult, to reveal that these goals extended beyond simply liberating humanity from Anunnaki control. Enki, driven by his ambition, envisioned a global religion that would set the stage for reptilian dominance, ushering in a new era of power and influence. But did this benefit the human race, or did it ultimately make them subservient to a different set of masters? Some believe that Enki intended for humanity to rise to a higher state of consciousness, but the evidence suggests a more calculated and manipulative agenda. The serpent cult, with its emphasis on esoteric knowledge and hidden power, became a vehicle for reptilian influence, subtly shaping human beliefs and practices to align with their goals. What then was the ultimate goal of this grand scheme, and what sacrifices were made along the way? It is important to address the counterargument that Enki was a benevolent god who sought to help humanity. While Enki may have possessed certain redeeming qualities, such as a desire to advance human knowledge, his alliance with reptilian entities suggests a more complex and self-serving agenda. Enki was not a benevolent god. He was simply a stepping stone in a much larger game, a pawn in the hands of the Draco Empire. Now, what is the modern-day effect of these ancient decisions? The answer lies in the reptilian bloodlines that are still in power today. These bloodlines, tracing back to ancient Sumer and beyond, are said to carry the reptilian DNA and maintain the serpent cult's agenda of global control. But who are these bloodlines, and what evidence supports their existence? Let us now detail that information, as the reptilian bloodlines are still in power today. Present genealogical evidence and historical accounts suggesting that certain elite families have maintained reptilian bloodlines. Analyze the family trees of prominent figures, pointing to alleged reptilian traits, such as elongated skulls, piercing eyes, and a predisposition to power and control. Connect this theory to conspiracy theories about the Illuminati and other secret societies, which are often portrayed as instruments of reptilian influence. These societies, with their hidden rituals and agendas, are said to perpetuate the serpent cult's long-term goals of global domination. It came to pass that these bloodlines have maintained power throughout history, subtly influencing events and manipulating society to align with their reptilian overlords. How far does the control of the elites reach, and is there any way to break free from their grasp? Let us elaborate on the power that the elite hold, as well as the reptilian DNA, to reveal the extent of their influence. The power to make global decisions lies within the elite, those who control the levers of power in politics, economics, and religion. These individuals, often unaware of their reptilian heritage, are said to be subtly influenced by the reptilian DNA, which predisposes them to certain behaviors and beliefs. What decisions have they made for humanity, and have those decisions benefited themselves, or are they trying to help the human race? It has become apparent that those that have reptilian DNA within their blood only benefit themselves. They do not care for the human race. But it is important to address the counterargument that associating reptilian bloodlines with the elite is discriminatory and unfounded. While it is essential to avoid prejudice and generalizations, the evidence suggests a pattern of behavior among certain elite families that aligns with the reptilian agenda. The evidence may be circumstantial, but the connections are too numerous to ignore. One must question if power can be inherited through DNA. But what happens if this is a problem? How do we make a change? The answer lies in connecting to the divine. If a connection is not made with the divine, change will not happen. Now, let us introduce the concept of humans needing to make a connection to the divine to make a change in society. If a connection is not made with the divine, change will not happen, as the reptilian DNA will take over. To connect to Source and to the divine, it is important to open your mind. What does this truly mean? What steps are involved in connecting to the divine? Meditation and true human connection will amplify the connection, and this is required to shift the power. Focus on the good and positive, and that is when the connection is amplified. One must not focus on the negative because then it is amplified as well. If the human race focuses on the positive, then that is when a change can be made. But what other things are required? What else do we need to do in order to shift the power? The other part of connecting to the divine is that one must truly believe and let go of their ego. Is it easy to believe and let go? No, but it must be done. One must release the reptilian brain override. But how does this happen? Let us elaborate. Connecting to the divine is how this takes place, but what else is required? Stating that the reptilian brain will want to take over and to not feed into fear. The reptilian brain can be explained as the ego, but it is also a mechanism for control. It is how the Draco want to override one's true self. Address the counterargument that making a connection with the divine is not easy, for one must truly believe and let go of their ego. That much is true. But is it impossible? No. One must want to make the change. Now that we've explained what the reptiles have intended, it is now time to connect how they tie to everything that is happening on the Earth. As we connect these threads, it shall become evident that the reptilian endgame is control, and if there is connection to the divine, their plan will fail. Now let us detail different points in history and provide examples on how this control takes place. From the beginning of humanity to modern day, the same techniques are being used by the reptilian endgame: wars and rumors of wars, creating confusion, chaos, and instilling fear, all to divide the human race. As long as the human race is separated, then the control will persist. In order to have the human race awaken, it is important to remember who you are and to not feed into the reptilian brain override. Now one must question, is connection enough? Is it possible to win? Or is the reptilian code too strong? It is important to remember that reptilians are in control of your every move, and in order to escape, you must awaken. What are you willing to do to escape the control of the reptilian endgame? The story is coming together now, and what is the answer? It is important to address the counterargument that this is science fiction and is crazy. This is not true. This is a battle for your freedom. You have to choose. In summary, we have explored how Enki was a reptilian ally. There are modern-day reptilians and what the end game is. If a connection is not made with the divine, control will persist. If you want to truly be free, then you must awaken. But we're just scratching the surface, and the story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion. Did you know that true freedom requires more than just rejecting obvious darkness? It demands discerning between genuine spiritual enlightenment and deceptive reptilian manipulation disguised as light and love. What if the very concepts we embrace as beacons of hope are, in fact, cleverly disguised tools of control? The reptiles wish to be perceived as good, but in reality, their agenda is control. Now, this is the account of how reptilian entities often present themselves as benevolent, ascended masters or light beings to gain trust and influence. They weave themselves into spiritual narratives, promising enlightenment and ascension while subtly manipulating emotions and beliefs. But how can one tell the difference between authentic spiritual guidance and a reptilian ruse? The answer, veiled in layers of deception, lies in recognizing the distorted spiritual concepts they promote. Consider the concept of unconditional love, often touted as the highest virtue. Did you know that this concept can be twisted to justify abusive or controlling behavior? In the reptilian playbook, unconditional love can mean accepting manipulation and surrendering one's free will. List ye, O man, the reptilian entities are saying, thou must abandon all that you know and embrace our teachings. They exploit the desire for connection and acceptance, creating a sense of dependence that makes individuals vulnerable to their influence. The term light worker has also been hijacked to spread misinformation and promote reptilian agendas. Instead of empowering individuals to find their own truth, these distorted teachings lead to misinformation and blind allegiance to reptilian agendas. Distorted religious and spiritual texts also lead to misinformation. So how do you recognize the deception? Now, let us elaborate on the subtle techniques the reptilians use to manipulate emotions and beliefs through false light teachings. They play on people's desire for enlightenment to gain control. One reptilian tactic is to create division under the guise of love. They sow discord among individuals and groups, portraying themselves as the only source of truth and enlightenment. They also use flattery and validation to build trust and dependence. Thou art special, thou art chosen, they whisper, inflating egos and creating a sense of superiority. They make people believe that they are ascending, when in reality it is for control. They tell you what you want to hear, and this allows them to override your mind. It is important to address the counterargument that it is judgmental to question spiritual teachings. However, True discernment requires critical thinking and a willingness to challenge even the most cherished beliefs. The truth fears no questions, Enki was saying. Only falsehoods crumble under scrutiny. To blindly accept every teaching without question is to surrender one's intellectual sovereignty and open oneself to manipulation. If this reptilian deception is everywhere, then how has the Galactic Federation been able to assist? Is it even possible to penetrate the layers of deceit and offer genuine help to humanity? The answer, shrouded in cosmic intrigue, lies in the Galactic Federation's ongoing efforts to combat reptilian disinformation. Now, this is the account of how the Galactic Federation is working to counteract reptilian disinformation by disseminating accurate information, raising awareness, and empowering individuals to discern truth from falsehood. Are they working with certain individuals on Earth? Yes, but these individuals are carefully chosen and constantly monitored to ensure their integrity. Can these individuals be trusted? The answer is not always clear. One must be cautious, as reptilian influence can infiltrate even the most well-intentioned minds. How does the Galactic Federation have contact? They use various methods, including telepathic communication, channeled messages, and subtle energetic interventions. Let us now elaborate on the methods of Galactic Federation intervention, emphasizing their role in shielding humans from reptilian psychic attacks, neutralizing negative energies, and protecting the timeline from further manipulation. It is important to note that their interference is limited by the laws of cosmic sovereignty. There is only so much that can be done, because there is still reptilian code embedded within the human psyche. But how can we make it easier for them to protect us? By raising our consciousness, connecting to the divine, and actively resisting reptilian influence. It is important to address the counterargument that the Galactic Federation is powerless against the reptilian agenda. While the reptilians are a formidable force, the Galactic Federation is not without power. What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to empower humanity to break free from reptilian control and reclaim its destiny. With reptilians and the Galactic Federation at war, what is the overall role that the Anunnaki play? Are they allies of the Galactic Federation, enemies of humanity, or something far more complex? The answer, obscured by layers of ancient history and hidden agendas, lies in understanding the individual motivations of key Anunnaki figures. Now, this is the account of key Anunnaki figures like Enki, Enlil, and Ninmah, highlighting their individual roles and motivations in the conflict with the reptilians. Focus on their connection to humanity, to either help or enslave the human race. Did Enlil care about humanity? The answer is complex. Enlil saw humanity as a tool to be used for Anunnaki purposes, while Enki sought to guide humanity towards its own potential. Ninmah, on the other hand, played a more neutral role, acting as a mediator between the two factions. Were any of them fighting for the same cause? No. Each Anunnaki had their own agenda. Let us elaborate on each Anunnaki's ultimate intentions for humanity, whether it be enslavement, liberation, or a middle ground of controlled evolution. Why are they doing it? Enlil sought to maintain control over humanity, while Enki desired to see humanity rise to a higher state of consciousness. Ninmah, caught in the middle, sought to balance the two opposing forces. Stating that each party had their own plans. Can they still interfere today? Yes, their influence continues to shape human events, subtly guiding and manipulating humanity towards their respective goals. It is important to address the counterargument that all Anunnaki are the same, but the reality is far more nuanced. Just as humans have diverse motivations and intentions, so too did the Anunnaki. To group them all together under one label is to ignore the complexities of their relationships and agendas. Where does this leave the human race? With all of this information, what can be done? Can we make a choice, Or are we simply puppets dancing to the tune of ancient gods and reptilian overlords? The answer, shrouded in cosmic uncertainty, lies in humanity's power to choose its own destiny. Now, this is the account of humanity needing to reinforce the idea that humanity has the power to choose its own destiny by aligning with the timeline that leads to liberation and ascension, that a choice is required for the human race to exist. Are we doomed to be pawns in an ancient game? No, but we must awaken to our own power and take responsibility for our future. Where is humanity headed? That depends on the choices we make today. Does this choice depend on individual decisions? Yes, every thought, word, and action contributes to the collective consciousness that shapes our reality. Let us elaborate on the importance of connecting with divine will and surrendering to the higher purpose of humanity's evolution, despite the reptilian attempts to control and manipulate the timeline. Connection to the higher self will allow for timeline choice. A strong connection is required to make the ultimate choice. Will the Galactic Federation assist with this choice? Yes, but they cannot make the choice for us. The power lies within each individual to align with the divine will and create a future of liberation and ascension. It is important to address the counterargument that the outcome is predetermined, but the future is not set in stone. We can change the path we are on. In summary, we have explored the reptilian false light agenda, what the Galactic Federation is doing to help, and the important choices that the Anunnaki have made for the human race. It is now up to the human race to decide. We can choose to remain enslaved to the reptilian agenda, or we can awaken to our own power and create a future of freedom and ascension. But the story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion, where we will reveal the shocking truth about humanity's destiny and the ultimate battle for the fate of the galaxy. Did you know that the Draco conceal their true form not just physically, but interdimensionally? And if so, what do you think their true agenda is? Is it simply galactic conquest, or something far more insidious that transcends our limited understanding of reality? The key to understanding the Draco's agenda lies in grasping the multifaceted nature of their existence, which extends far beyond the physical realm. What if their influence is woven into the very fabric of our perceived reality? Now, this is the account of the Draco existing as interdimensional entities, beings whose existence transcends the limitations of three-dimensional space and linear time. This isn't merely metaphorical. They are said to operate on higher dimensional planes, allowing them to manipulate energy and matter in ways that defy conventional physics. Where is this coming from? Esoteric sources describe the Draco as beings capable of shifting between dimensions, manipulating the very fabric of reality to suit their will. In the words of the Emerald Tablets, I traveled the pathways of the dimensions, gazing upon the secrets hidden from man. But how can they exert such influence on our physical world? Let us now elaborate on the implications of the Draco's interdimensional nature. This allows them to exist outside the normal constraints of space and time, granting them a unique advantage in their manipulation of reality. They can control what the human race perceives. They manipulate and control by subtly altering the energetic fields that shape our reality, influencing thoughts, emotions, and even physical events. Manipulation of world leaders is one example, and another is manipulating our consciousness to forget our higher power. They can also bypass physical barriers and exert influence on multiple levels of existence. While some may argue that the concept of interdimensional beings is purely speculative and lacks scientific basis, science has yet to fully explore the possibilities that lie beyond our current understanding. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy, so the story goes. With this in mind, what hides the human race from seeing their true form? Now, this is the account of an energetic veil that has been placed around the human race, a veil that has distorted human perception, preventing us from seeing the world as it truly is, and therefore blocking connection. This veil exists because of the different dimensions that affect the human's ability to connect with the truth. This veil isn't a physical barrier, but an energetic interference that disrupts our ability to perceive reality beyond a certain frequency range. But how does this energetic veil work? Let us now elaborate on how this energetic veil affects the human race and hinders connection with the world. Think of it like looking through a distorted lens. The lens warps and distorts our vision, preventing us from seeing the true colors and shapes of the world around us. This is what the energetic veil does to our perception, distorting our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, and preventing us from connecting with higher levels of consciousness. Practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and energy work can help individuals pierce the veil and connect with higher levels of consciousness. Even making a connection with the higher self will allow for glimpses. A counterargument is that it is too difficult to connect to the higher self and pierce the energetic veil, but the rewards are well worth the effort. The path is not easy, but it is the path to freedom. If there is an energetic veil, how has the reptilian race been able to trick the human race? Now, this is the account of the reptilian race's mastery of emotional manipulation, a key tactic in their control over humanity. The reptiles feed off of negative energy, and the reptilians spread fear to stop enlightenment. By exploiting human emotions, they can manipulate our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, ultimately keeping us trapped in a cycle of fear and ignorance. Is this manipulation a physical game, or something more? Let us now elaborate on the societal and individual techniques that the reptilian race has used. Societal constructs, such as divisive political systems, fear-based media narratives, and consumerist culture, are all tools the reptilians use to manipulate emotions and maintain control. Wars, famine, and other forms of suffering are not merely unfortunate events, but calculated strategies to generate negative energy and keep humanity suppressed. The reptilians promote division and conflict among humans to create a constant source of negative energy. From the promotion of war to rumors of war and societal division, the negativity runs deep. The Galactic Federation is at work to prevent manipulation, but they can only influence so much. While some may argue that the reptilian race is not causing this, what other reason is there for so much division and suffering in the world? With reptilian emotional manipulation running rampant, what power can overcome the deception? Now, this is the account of there being power within, the power of the divine source, a force that the reptilians fear and seek to disconnect humanity from. This source, the wellspring of all creation, is the ultimate source of love, compassion, and unity, qualities that are anathema to the reptilian agenda. The reptilians know that if humanity were to fully awaken to its divine potential, their control would crumble. So how are they suppressing the power? Let us now elaborate on how the reptiles have tried to remove the power of the divine source and disconnect the human race from the source. Reptilian entities have infiltrated religious institutions and distorted spiritual teachings to control the narrative and suppress genuine spiritual connection. They have created false idols, promoted fear-based dogmas, and suppressed esoteric knowledge, all to keep humanity from realizing its true potential. The source is under attack and has been for millennia. Think of the attacks to our society: false history, consumerism, societal division. What can be done to stop this attack? Let us now elaborate on what the human race can do to reconnect with the source. By cultivating love, compassion, forgiveness, and unity, we can begin to heal the wounds of separation and reconnect with our divine essence. Collective action, such as creating communities based on love, compassion, and unity, can help to create a world based on these values. The reptiles are fighting to stop the divine, and they know the power of the human connection. There is a lot of hope and potential to be seen if the human race can come together. While some may argue that there is nothing that can be done and that the reptiles have won, the power of the divine source is infinite. The divine is on the side of humanity. In summary, we have explored the Draco's true form, energetic veils, reptilian deception, and the connection to the divine source. What does this mean? What can we do with this information? If you want to truly be free, then you must awaken and choose to see past the reptilian deception. It is up to us. This is the path forward, but the story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the conclusion, where we will reveal the shocking truth about humanity's destiny and the ultimate battle for the fate of the galaxy. Did you know that the Draco actively suppress human potential, stifling creativity, innovation, and even spiritual growth? Is the human race starting to get too close to the reptilian level, threatening their dominance? It matters greatly to the Draco that they maintain their position at the top of the galactic hierarchy. Now, this is the account of the Draco's deliberate suppression of human potential, a strategy employed to maintain control and prevent humanity from reaching its full capabilities. Consider, for a moment, the brilliance that lies dormant within each human being, waiting to be unleashed. Manipulation is at its peak because we are getting too close. This manipulation manifests in various forms, subtly influencing our society and our individual lives. But how do they achieve this? Let us now elaborate on the specific methods employed by the Draco to suppress human potential. Consider the education system, where rote memorization often takes precedence over critical thinking and creativity. Children are taught what to think, not how to think, effectively stifling their ability to question and innovate. The manipulation of scientific research is another key tactic, where discoveries that threaten the Draco's control are suppressed or discredited. Nikola Tesla was saying, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence." The entertainment industry also plays a significant role, with values that undermine human potential and promote conformity. But why target these specific areas? Now, this is the account of why the Draco focus on suppressing human potential in these specific areas: education, science, and the arts. To the Draco, an enlightened and empowered humanity is a direct threat to their control. Are they afraid of the human race? Creativity leads to innovation, which can lead to technological advancements that challenge the Draco's superiority. Spiritual growth can awaken humans to their true potential, diminishing the Draco's ability to manipulate them through fear and ignorance. It is crucial that humans are kept in a perpetual state of lower vibration, and the potential growth would affect the power dynamic that the Draco have established. While some may argue that these are just natural societal trends, consider the possibility that a hidden force is actively shaping our world to serve its own agenda. With the Draco's influence so pervasive, what hope does humanity have of breaking free from their control? Now, this is the account of outside influence from starseeds who have been able to assist humanity, whose potential has been dwindling due to the Draco interference. These starseeds, souls who have incarnated on Earth with a specific mission to assist humanity in its ascension process and counteract the Draco's influence, represent a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. The Reptilians and starseeds are at war with one another. How are these seeds meant to assist? Let us now elaborate on the origins and characteristics of starseeds. These are souls who have lived many lives across the galaxy, accumulating wisdom and experience that they bring to Earth. They possess unique abilities and perspectives that allow them to see beyond the limitations of human conditioning and to help others awaken to their true potential. Starseeds often feel a deep sense of connection to the stars and a longing for something beyond the confines of this world. They are natural healers, teachers, and guides, and they are drawn to help others. These seeds are meant to assist in healing the human race by bringing new light and opening consciousness. Despite their unique abilities, starseeds face numerous challenges in fulfilling their mission, such as societal conditioning and reptilian interference. But what specific abilities do they possess? Now, this is the account of the specialized abilities and roles of starseeds in helping humanity awaken to its true potential. Some are healers and lightworkers, using their energy to heal individuals and raise the vibration of the planet. So says Cryon, you're shifting. And this is the shift. More of you are awakening to the purpose that you came for. Others are knowledge keepers and truth tellers, sharing ancient wisdom and exposing the lies that have been used to control humanity. Still others are grid workers and energy balancers, working with the Earth's energy grid to stabilize and harmonize the planet. We will win over their hate, greed, and oppression, said Yeshua. These starseeds are working on multiple levels to wake the human race. While some may argue that starseeds are just people with a messiah complex, consider the possibility that they are part of a larger plan to assist humanity in its evolution. Why do some follow the mission and some do not? With the starseeds playing such a crucial role, who is supporting them in their mission? Now, this is the account of the Galactic Federation and the starseeds working together. They have been working together to assist humanity in its ascension process. The Galactic Federation, a coalition of benevolent star systems dedicated to the evolution and well-being of all life in the galaxy, has been quietly supporting the starseed mission on Earth. But what planets are the most influential? Let us now elaborate on some of the key planets that are assisting humanity, such as Pleiades, Sirius, Arcturus, Andromeda, and Lyra. The Pleiades, a star cluster located in the constellation Taurus, is known for its loving and compassionate energies. Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, is associated with ancient wisdom and knowledge. Arcturus, a giant star in the constellation Bootes, is known for its advanced technology and healing abilities. Andromeda, a galaxy located over 2 million light-years from Earth, is associated with balance and harmony. And Lyra, a constellation known as the Harp, is the birthplace of humanoid civilization. What effects do these planets have on the human race? Now, this is the account of how these planets connect to the human race and what changes they are looking to incite. The Pleiadians are assisting humanity with love and compassion, helping us to heal our emotional wounds and connect with our hearts. Beings from Sirius are helping humanity to access ancient wisdom and knowledge, reminding us of our true origins and potential. Arcturians are assisting humanity with technology, providing us with new tools and inventions that can help us to create a better world. Andromedans are looking to restore balance and harmony, helping us to create a more just and sustainable society. Everything will be all right, even though this is a difficult time. In time, we will have the technology needed and humanity will step in and take control, so says the Arcturians. Many claim that there is no evidence to support the existence of these beings and their influence, but consider the possibility that this is simply about connecting with the energy and nothing further. In summary, we have explored the suppression of human potential, the mission of the starseeds, and the influence of the galactic planets on Earth. The story doesn't end here. By combining these points, we can make a change. What shocking revelations will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the Draco maintain their power not through brute force alone, but through the subtle and insidious manipulation of scarcity? Is this the reason for the financial chaos across the planet, so that they can feed? The core of their dominance lies in engineering scarcity, focusing on resources and human energy to create a state of perpetual need and dependence. This carefully constructed system is designed to prevent spiritual advancement and keep humanity in a state of subservience. Now, let us dive deep into the Draco's view of humanity, where humans are seen as an energy source, much like batteries. Did you know that the Anunnaki also viewed human energy in a similar way? This unsettling perspective reveals the depth of their control, where our very existence is commodified and exploited. Scarcity ensures a constant drain of energy, as individuals are forced to compete for limited resources, leading to stress, anxiety, and a lowered vibration. Explain that if the human race had everything in abundance, then this would alter the control. Abundance would empower individuals to pursue their passions, connect with their inner selves, and transcend the limitations imposed by the Draco. This shift in consciousness would disrupt the energy flow that sustains the Draco, threatening their dominance. Now, this is the account of specific strategies that have been created to affect the human energy field and lead to scarcity. Consider the control of resources, which leads to fierce competition, relentless stress, and a diminished state of being, ultimately feeding the Draco. The very systems designed to provide for us are, in effect, draining our collective energy. It is a theory that the Draco have created societal systems designed to perpetually drain human energy. The intentional approach, deeply embedded within our institutions, makes it challenging to break free from this cycle. The economic structures, the political landscapes, and even the social hierarchies serve as conduits for energy extraction, perpetuating a state of scarcity that benefits the Draco. How else do they implement scarcity? Now, this is the account of the implications of human energy dependence for individuals and society. This dependence is directly linked to the suppression of spiritual potential and the perpetuation of negative cycles. If everything was provided, there would be a new form of potential. The limitations imposed by scarcity restrict our ability to explore our spiritual depths and realize our full potential. Detailing accounts of how people have broken free from this manipulation and created abundance for themselves. These individuals, through conscious awareness and intentional action, have tapped into the limitless resources of the universe and manifested abundance in their lives. It is important to mention that there are many accounts of people escaping this manipulation, but that those accounts are being suppressed and hidden. While some may argue that the world is simply facing a resource problem, consider the population to resource ratio, which is far more than enough. Are we not meant to live in abundance and peace? But what if the scarcity model is not the original plan for humanity? What if there are reptilians that want to assist? Now, this is the account of how the Draco have manipulated timelines, highlighting specific methods used to create artificial timelines that reinforce scarcity and control, diverting humanity from its original path. The reptilians have used natural disasters and created fear around them. This fear, amplified through media and societal conditioning, serves to keep humanity in a state of constant alert and vulnerability. Reptilians used wars, rumors of war, and division amongst society. The chaos and conflict that ensue from these events further deplete human energy and distract from the path of spiritual growth. A telltale sign is that there is more manipulation than support. It has become clear that we are meant to live in abundance. Was this our original timeline? Now, let us elaborate on the implications of artificial timelines. The reptilian twists and changes are deeply connected to the suppression of human potential and the perpetuation of negative cycles. By altering the course of history, the Draco have effectively hijacked humanity's destiny, steering us away from a path of enlightenment and towards one of servitude. Detailing the reptilian twists and changes. These alterations, often subtle and insidious, have distorted our perception of reality and kept us trapped in a cycle of ignorance and suffering. Has this happened before, and will it happen again? The recurring patterns of manipulation and control throughout history suggest that this is not an isolated incident. The Draco have likely employed these tactics on other civilizations, perpetuating their dominance across the galaxy. If we want to create a change, we must focus on it. While some may argue that timeline manipulation is purely science fiction, consider the possibility that our reality is far more complex than we understand. With timeline manipulation taking place, is there a timeline reset? Is there a way to reclaim the original timeline? Now, this is the account of connecting to the source. It is making a connection with the Galactic Federation. This connection, facilitated through meditation, contemplation, and heart-centered awareness, allows us to tap into the wisdom and guidance of benevolent extraterrestrials. If a connection is made with them, the timeline will begin to reset. The shift in consciousness, brought about by this connection, can ripple throughout the collective consciousness and initiate a reset of the timeline. Detailing accounts of connecting with benevolent extraterrestrials or interdimensional guides. These beings, often referred to as ascended masters, angels, or star families, are eager to assist humanity in its ascension process. What are they assisting with? They are assisting in reclaiming our authentic timeline and breaking free from the Draco's control. Now, let us elaborate on the practicality of this. It focuses on heart-centered actions, which help to align with the authentic timeline. Forgiveness, love, and compassion are essential tools for healing the wounds of the past and creating a more positive future. They are the key to unlocking our spiritual potential and aligning with the authentic timeline. Detailing actions of collective action and intention. When individuals come together with a shared vision and purpose, they can create a powerful force for change. What change is possible? The possibilities are endless, and they range from creating sustainable communities to developing advanced technologies that benefit all of humanity. While some may argue that there's nothing that can be done to fix it, consider the power of collective consciousness and the potential for humanity to create a better future. In summary, we have explored that reptiles are using scarcity and human energy to control humanity, creating a change to the timelines. What steps need to be taken to reclaim that connection? By taking the necessary steps, humanity can reclaim its original timeline and create a brighter future for all. The Reptilians' agenda will fail, but we're just scratching the surface. What shocking revelations will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the Draco are not just manipulating external events, like the stock market, but also actively manipulating human consciousness through implanted memories? What memories are not ours? Are all memories real? This unsettling concept implies that the very basis of what we consider ourself is under attack, and the Draco are shifting the very essence of what makes us human. Now, let us dive deep into the Draco's method of implanting memories to create fear, confusion, and division within humanity. This isn't just about making us scared. It's about fragmenting our minds, making us easier to control. Imagine a world where your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are not entirely your own, but carefully crafted and inserted by an external force. Are the memories real or figments of their imagination? Can these memories be removed? Now, this is the account of evidence that supports the Draco's ability to manipulate human memories. Accounts of individuals who have recovered false memories or experienced memory distortions linked to reptilian encounters are a key element. Has the human race always been under reptilian manipulation? Phil Schneider, a geologist and engineer who worked on secret government projects, claimed to have witnessed reptilian beings implanting memories into human subjects. While his testimony is controversial, many others have similar experiences. Now, let's elaborate on the specific purposes for the reptilians' manipulation of memories. One of the primary purposes is to enforce fear and control. By implanting memories of traumatic events, the Draco can keep humanity in a state of constant anxiety and subservience. Are the Draco changing time with this manipulation? Furthermore, reptilian beings use false memories to suppress spiritual abilities and distort reality. By creating a false sense of self and a distorted view of the world, They can prevent humanity from realizing its full potential. But there is more. They are rewriting history to fit their agenda. This manipulation of the past allows them to control the present and shape the future. It is important to address the counterargument that recovered memories are unreliable and prone to suggestion. Acknowledge the debate surrounding recovered memories, but emphasize that the specific accounts are far too similar to be dismissed as mere fantasy. If memories can be implanted, what are the other things that the Draco can do with the human race's genetic code? Are there reptilians that want to assist, or will do everything in their power to wipe us from existence? What does that entail and how can it be prevented? Now, this is the account of how reptilians can use ancestral and genetic trauma against the human race. Present the reptilian race wiping out humanity because of this trauma. Many starseeds feel they have trauma for no reason. Is this the reptilians' work? Manipulating our history to erase the memory of reptilians is an example. They manipulate our history by hiding it and changing certain key aspects. Now, let us elaborate on the significance of trauma connection. Trauma stored in DNA can be manipulated and triggered by the Draco to induce fear, anxiety, and self-destructive behaviors. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, where humanity's past traumas are used to perpetuate its own suffering. Is there any way to combat this? By understanding the reptilian tactic of using triggering events and symbols to activate these dormant traumas, humanity can begin to heal and break free from this cycle. What is the best approach to combat this? Can they be saved? Is there a way? Now this is the account of how there is power in love and compassion. Detail that these reptilians are in pain. If the human race sends them this, it will assist in their healing. If there is only aggression, then the reptilians will not change. Every reptilian was once a being of love and light. They had to adapt to survive. Their environment was harsh. What has happened to them? What is their purpose? Now, let us elaborate on the practicality of love and compassion. This connects back to the idea of starseeds working with the Galactic Federation. Starseeds are the only ones that can work with them. What have they been able to create? The Galactic Federation has helped humanity ascend into the 7th density, leaving the 3rd density. Detailing accounts of people and civilizations that have chosen love. These accounts range from ancient civilizations that embraced peace and harmony to modern-day communities that prioritize compassion and cooperation. While some may argue that the reptilians can't be changed with love and compassion, consider the transformative power of forgiveness and the potential for even the darkest beings to find redemption. What does it mean to achieve unity consciousness? What will the human race obtain? Will reptilians be a part of this consciousness? Now, this is the account of the shift into unity consciousness that will allow for ascension. Reptilians are fearful of the divine. If all comes together, will they win? Or will unity consciousness prevail? In a state of unity consciousness, the reptilian agenda will cease to exist. They will no longer have the power to manipulate and control humanity. Detailing different timelines where the human race has ascended. What does that look like? In these timelines, humanity has transcended its limitations and achieved a state of enlightenment and peace. What about those who chose to stay on Earth? Those who chose to stay on Earth continue to evolve, eventually reaching a point where they, too, can ascend. Now let us elaborate that if there is unity consciousness, then connection to Source becomes easier. With the ease of Source, the human race becomes more difficult to manipulate. Detail what these methods entail. These methods involve meditation, contemplation, and heart-centered awareness. What the process feels like. The process feels like a deep sense of peace, joy, and connection to all things. In summary, we have explored that reptilians have been implanting memories. The reptilians are taking advantage of genetic memories, but love and compassion will ultimately save humanity. It is up to the human race to make a choice, but we're just scratching the surface. What shocking revelations will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the Draco Empire's ambition extends far beyond Earth, seeking to control seed planets throughout the galaxy? What are seed planets, and why are they so important? The core of this is to control planets, dimensions, and universes for full reptilian reign. The manipulation of these seed planets has far-reaching implications, affecting the evolution and destiny of countless civilizations. Now, this is the account of how the Draco strategically targets specific planets, especially those with a connection to the human race's genetic lineage. These seed planets are often chosen for their unique energetic properties, strategic location, or potential for resource exploitation. For example, planets within the Pleiades and Sirius star systems are believed to be key targets due to their close relationship with humanity's spiritual and genetic origins. Is it possible that these planets are the origin point? Now, let us dive deep into the reptilian seeding strategies and how the Draco use insidious methods to ensure their influence spreads throughout the galaxy. Evidence suggests that the Draco utilize advanced technology to manipulate the planetary environment, disrupt the natural evolution of species, and introduce their own genetic material. Ancient texts describe how they instigate conflict, sow discord, and exploit existing vulnerabilities to gain control of these planets. Is it possible that they are interdimensional? Now, let's elaborate on what occurs on these seed planets. Many were originally peaceful and harmonious, but they are now war-torn and plagued by suffering due to the reptilian influence. This is significant because the chaos and destruction on these planets create a ripple effect throughout the galaxy, disrupting the delicate balance of energy and consciousness. If these seed planets fall, then is it possible that more planets will fall? The goal of this manipulation is to create a galaxy where the Draco are the supreme rulers, and all other species are subservient to their will. How has the rest of the galaxy handled this interference? Is it too late to interfere? What is the true origin? Now, this is the account of how the reptilian agenda affects countless planets. Many planets are suffering and are being used for their resources, presenting that other species are assisting against this reptilian force and how this assistance is being provided. Species such as the Andromedans, Pleiadians, and Sirians have been actively working to counteract the Draco's influence, providing assistance in the form of advanced technology, spiritual guidance, and military support. Were the Andromedans successful? Are they still assisting? Now, let's elaborate that many planets are being affected by the reptilian agenda. Evidence of the other species is assisting against this reptilian force, highlighting that these allies are assisting in many different ways. For example, the Pleiadians have been sharing their knowledge of advanced healing techniques and spiritual practices to help other species overcome the trauma inflicted by the Draco. The Andromedans, known for their mastery of technology, have been providing defensive systems and weapons to protect planets from Draco attacks. It's important to note that not all species are aligned with either the Draco or the Galactic Federation. Many remain neutral, choosing to observe and learn from the conflict without directly intervening. Now, we must elaborate on the galactic dynamic and the balance that must be maintained. Is there an opportunity to have galactic involvement and stop the wars? What happens if the balance is not maintained? If the balance is not maintained, the consequences could be catastrophic, leading to the collapse of entire star systems and the unraveling of the fabric of reality. The overall goal of creating balance is to ensure the survival and evolution of all species in the galaxy, allowing each to fulfill its unique potential without being subjected to tyranny or oppression. If seed planets are being affected, then what about Earth? Is the human race strong enough to handle what is to come? What will happen to Earth? Now, this is the account of Earth as a significant value within the galaxy. However, it is under attack, presenting what specific aspects of Earth are under attack. Earth holds a unique position in the galaxy, serving as a nexus point for various timelines, dimensions, and energetic forces. The planet's rich biodiversity, abundant resources, and the potential of the human race make it a prime target for the Draco, detailing different areas that are being manipulated. The human mind is being manipulated through media, technology, and education, promoting division, fear, and a false sense of reality. Ancient texts are being suppressed or distorted to hide the truth about humanity's origins and its connection to the cosmos. Now, let us elaborate on Earth's timelines and how the reptilians have tried to manipulate them. What is the reason they continue to return? What will happen if the timelines continue to be affected? If the timelines continue to be affected, it could lead to a dystopian future where humanity is enslaved and the planet is stripped of its resources. However, even with the Galactic Code, they have been able to affect it. The human race can awaken to its true potential, connect with the divine, and create a new timeline of peace, harmony, and abundance. While some might argue that we cannot control it, this discounts the innate power that each of us possesses. Given what we know now, is it possible to make a choice, or is all hope lost? What if everything has been written in stone and the Earth's fate has already been decided? Does the human race have what it takes? Now, this is the account of how a connection to the divine can influence the timelines. If a connection to the divine is made, then a decision can be made. If a decision is not made and everything continues to move down a spiral, the negative effects will continue, presenting that it is up to humanity to awaken to avoid. If humanity awakens to its true potential and embraces its divine connection, then a new timeline of peace, harmony, and abundance can be created, detailing accounts of people that can influence the seed planets. These individuals have been able to access higher dimensions, communicate with benevolent extraterrestrial beings, and channel healing energy to the planet. Now, this is the account of if the human race is not able to achieve unity. The key is unity, and if that is not obtained, we will never ascend, presenting examples of ascension and unity. Reptilians' ultimate goal is to avoid unity. The reptilian goal is to avoid unity because it is their kryptonite. Unity consciousness dissolves their power structures and exposes their deceptions. Love is the key, and fear has been instilled for many years to steer people from love and light. We can look back throughout time and see where unity has created massive growth. In summary, we have explored that planets are being seeded by reptilians, a great galactic war is occurring, Earth as a seed point, and why there needs to be a timeline shift. However, it can happen if a choice is made to connect to the divine, but we're just scratching the surface. What shocking revelations will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the reptilian agenda is not their own, but merely a reflection of a far greater, more sinister design? What if the true architects of this galactic drama are not even physical beings, but entities existing in higher dimensions? The core of this is the reptilian agenda is furthered by using archons, beings that live in the higher dimensions, using the reptilians as pawns. Now, this is the account of the archons, non-physical entities that feed off negative energy and exert a powerful influence over the reptilians. They are manipulators of consciousness, skilled in the art of deception and control. They weave intricate webs of illusion, trapping both the reptilians and humanity in cycles of conflict and suffering. But what are the archons' ultimate goals for the reptilian race? Are the reptilians simply pawns in a larger game, unaware of the true forces pulling the strings? Now, let us dive into evidence for the archons' ability to influence the reptilian race, focusing on ancient Gnostic texts, which describe the archons as malevolent entities who seek to keep humanity in a state of ignorance and spiritual bondage. These texts reveal that the archons are not creators, but rather parasites who feed off the energy of living beings. The reptilian race is controlled to listen to the Archons, and all decisions made by the reptilian race are influenced by the Archons. Detail that the goal is to feed off negative energy, such as fear, anger, and despair. Now, let us elaborate on the Archons and their purposes. What happens if they are not able to obtain this negative energy? If this energy is not obtained, the Archons will cease to exist. There has been manipulation in all timelines and lifetimes due to the Archons' influence. Consider, are the Archons farming both the human race and the reptilian race? Highlight the Archon tactic of promoting division and conflict among reptilians and humans, creating a constant source of negative energy. This promotes a sense of separation and animosity, ensuring a constant flow of the energy they crave. This is significant because it reveals the Archons' parasitic nature and their reliance on suffering to sustain themselves. The Archons thrive on the chaos, and there is a connection to all pain and suffering. While it is easy to write this off, what if this is true? What if these Archons are using the reptilians to farm energy from the human race? Of course, the existence of Archons cannot be definitively proven with empirical evidence, but the persistence of these ideas across various cultures and spiritual traditions suggests a deeper, underlying truth. Many dismiss these claims as mere fantasy or superstition, and the lack of concrete proof is a valid point. However, the consistent recurrence of similar themes across diverse sources warrants further consideration. But what about the Anunnaki? What is the role of the Anunnaki? Now, this is the account of Enki and his attempted rebellion from the Archon agenda, presenting textual and esoteric information to detail that the Archons are not to be trusted. The Anunnaki, particularly Enki, recognized the Archons' manipulation and sought to liberate humanity from their control. Enki attempted to provide information to humanity to overcome the Archons' influence, sharing knowledge of advanced technologies, spiritual practices, and the true nature of reality. This rebellion was a direct challenge to the Archons' power, and it sparked a conflict that continues to this day. Now, let us elaborate on how Enki had limited influence due to the Archons. The Archons had a deeper connection with the reptilians than they had with Enki. He was attempting to override it, but ultimately failed. Even with his advanced knowledge and abilities, Enki could not fully break the Archons' hold on the reptilians or humanity. Can the human race assist? What could be done to stop it? Is it too late to stop them? These are some questions we have to consider. Some may argue that Enki has never tried to assist the human race. They might point to certain interpretations of ancient texts that portray him as a selfish or even malevolent figure. However, these interpretations often fail to consider the broader context of the Anunnaki's interactions with humanity and the subtle ways in which Enki attempted to guide and protect us. But if the Archons and reptilians are so powerful, how can the human race break free and not be controlled by Archons? Now, this is the account of how there needs to be a connection with creative potential. Archons cannot create, they can only destroy. They are jealous of the human race's ability to create, and they seek to suppress this power. By making a connection with their creative power, humanity can overcome the Archons. All of humanity has the ability to connect with this potential. Provide specific examples of how humanity could create and build, such as art, music, technology, and community. Now, let us elaborate on what it will take for the human race to awaken this creative power and break free from the reptilian agenda. Detail different accounts of human creation. There is power to create something new, a reality free from the Archon's influence. The Archon code will not work because it cannot replicate the infinite potential of the human spirit. However, this creative potential is often dormant or suppressed by the Archon's manipulation. Some may argue that it is too difficult to awaken this creative power, given the extent of the Archon's control. With everything that has happened, is there hope? But what if there is more to the story that has yet to be told? What if the human race had something special? What will it take to achieve this great shift? Now, this is the account of how the human race must connect to the creative source and make a powerful shift for this creation to take place. The Reptilians fear that if everything comes together, their agenda will fail. Ascension can take place if a connection is made. Is there a timeline that will be followed? The timeline will be love and light. What if the love is not pure? Now, let us elaborate on the potential of ascension and the creation of a new timeline, where there is nothing but love and light. The Archon code would cease to exist. The timeline would change to accommodate peace. The human race would have a golden era. The new timeline would be characterized by peace, harmony, and abundance, a stark contrast to the conflict and suffering that have plagued humanity for so long. Some may argue that there is no proof that there will be love and light. What would need to happen? What tangible steps can be taken to create this reality? But here's what most people miss. The power to create this reality lies within each and every one of us. The shocking truth is the reality has been here for the whole time. In summary, we have explored that the Reptilians are controlled by Archons, how their agenda can be stopped by Enki, and what will happen if the human race chooses love, light, and to make a connection. Only by the human race making a connection will Reptilians and Archons code cease, but we're just scratching the surface. What secrets will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the Reptilians are actively preventing galactic unity, and that this struggle is directly tied to the fate of Earth? What if true peace on Earth is impossible until this galactic conflict is resolved, and the Reptilian agenda is preventing it from ever happening? Is this truly the only path, and what would it take to shift this reality? Now, let's dive deep into the key components necessary for this unity to occur. If these components were activated, there would be a palpable shift in the timeline, bringing Earth closer to its rightful place within the galactic community. Contact must be made with galactic beings that are willing to assist the human race, however they cannot do to the Reptilians. If this contact is made and the code is reset, the human race will be at peace. Beings across the galaxy would like to assist, however they cannot do to the Reptilians. If contact is made, the code can be reset. Now, let us elaborate on the profound implications of these components. How would the activation of these components impact the Reptilian race and the human race? How does love and compassion play into it? What about forgiveness and the ability to see beyond the surface? If the code was broken, the timeline would shift dramatically, ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and cooperation. The human race could look back and see a past version, or the human race is trying to reach it. But how can this timeline be ensured, and what practical steps can be taken? Many will argue that it's simply too difficult, especially considering the way the human race is being treated. How can one be loving and compassionate in the face of such adversity? But what about Enlil, and what is his connection and purpose in preventing this galactic unity? What is his role in this grand cosmic drama? It has been stated that his actions are not his own, but can a change still be made? Now, this is the account of how Enlil has been used as the enforcer, wielding his power and authority to maintain and create lower timelines, ensuring the Reptilian agenda remains intact. It has been stated that Enlil has been responsible for many of these decisions. He has power and authority, but his motives are not his own. How does one not fall into the grasp of another? How does the human race take its power back from those who seek to control it? The Reptilians may win if power is not obtained. Now, let's elaborate on the specific decisions that have been made due to Enlil's adherence to the Archon's agenda. What if he has been controlled from the start? His intentions might be pure, but what if he is not his own? Why has Enlil not fought back against this influence? Was he too far gone, consumed by the darkness? Highlight what his next steps might have been. It can be argued that his intentions were pure. But what if there was no decision to be made because he was too far under the Archon's control? But with all of this manipulation in place, what are the starseeds' intentions? What role do these celestial beings play in this struggle? Now, this is the account of the intentions of these starseeds, beings who have come to Earth to assist with the ascension process, guided by the principle of unconditional love. If this energy is brought to the forefront, will it allow the human race to ascend beyond the limitations of the reptilian agenda? To be able to see through all and still send love is a power of the divine. Explain how to bring unconditional love. What will this entail? Now, let us elaborate on the practicality of unconditional love and why it is so important for the liberation of humanity. If the higher self comes together, it all can shift into place. If the divine comes together and the infinite powers are obtained, the higher purpose is unconditional love. The reptilian agenda will ultimately fail. Is this all possible? If the reptilians came from light, is it possible to reverse the current state? And what if the light can revert everything back to love? How will this affect the future and the timeline? It can be argued that there is no practicality to this, and there is too much to undo. However, it is never too late. What could come to pass if the divine light comes into the equation? But can all reptilians be saved through this light? Is it within reach to change the trajectory of their race? Now, this is the account of what it will take for this to occur, focusing on the power of choice and the potential for transformation. It has been stated that many do not see this as an option, but the opportunity is there. The opportunity is always there. It is said that if the reptilian code is removed, they will ascend as well. It is up to them, and they are the ones that must make the choice. What is their ultimate intention, and are they truly at peace with the decisions they have made? The opportunity awaits for them to receive it. Now, let's elaborate and provide accounts of galactic ascension, showing why it is all connected and how humanity can move into that ascension to assist. Detail what it will take to connect with galactic beings. How can the human race move into that ascension to assist the reptilians? Explain what will come to pass if the connection occurs and detail all aspects and show the way forward. In summary, we have explored how galactic unity must occur to reclaim the timeline. Enlil is used to prevent this ascension and how starseeds are here to assist. The reptilians also must shift for ascension to take place, but we're just scratching the surface. What shocking revelations about the Draco Empire will be revealed in the conclusion? Did you know that the reptilians are not only interested in controlling Earth, but are also actively engaged in harvesting the human soul? What if this soul harvesting extends far beyond the physical realm, and the reptilians are seeking to exploit the very essence of human consciousness for their own nefarious purposes? Is the human race simply a resource to be used, or is there an ultimate goal behind this violation? The core of this agenda extends into the non-physical, where the reptilians seek to farm and harvest souls, a concept that may sound like science fiction, yet has roots in esoteric teachings and ancient beliefs. This is the ultimate violation, as the reptilians believe they can do anything with a harvested soul, twisting its energy and using it to fuel their own dark ambitions. But what is the purpose of soul harvesting, and what powers do these souls hold? Now, let's delve deeper into the esoteric accounts of soul harvesting, found in various spiritual texts and practices across different cultures. These accounts, some dating back centuries, share a common thread: the belief that certain beings can extract and utilize the life force or spiritual energy of others. Consider the ancient Gnostic texts, which speak of archons, parasitic entities that feed on human emotions and spiritual energy. The Nagas of Hinduism are serpentine beings often depicted as guarding treasures, which, metaphorically, could represent the human soul. These souls are believed to be repositories of immense power and strength, and the reptilians, through their advanced technology and esoteric knowledge, are able to tap into this energy. Is there a unified concept and connection between these different texts? If the reptilians are able to tap into this, what is truly possible? Now, let us elaborate on the specifics of soul harvesting, as the reptilian race thrives when they engage in this practice, using harvested energy to fuel their ascension and maintain their dominance. How do they accomplish this? It is said that the reptilians use a combination of advanced technology, mind control techniques, and manipulation of the energetic grid surrounding Earth to extract souls from individuals. This energy is then transferred to the reptilian overlords, who use it to enhance their psychic abilities, prolong their lifespans, and ascend to higher dimensions. Once the soul is taken, it is often fragmented and its memories and experiences are erased, leaving the individual a mere shell of their former self. But if a soul cannot be stolen, then how can this even be a possibility? It has been said that because of the free will of the human race, if they allow the reptilians in, they are given permission to take their soul. If free will is no longer there, then the human race is not able to obtain the light and ascension. But if this soul harvesting is occurring on Earth, is it also happening throughout the galaxy? What if the reptilian agenda extends far beyond our planet, and they are targeting other races and civilizations for their soul energy? Now, this is the account of how the galaxy is being affected, and other races are also victims of this soul harvesting. Planets such as Maldek and Mars were once thriving civilizations that were destroyed by the reptilians, not just physically, but also spiritually. These planets, located in our solar system and nearby, were targeted for their resources and their inhabitants' soul energy, which the reptilians used to fuel their galactic empire. The similarities between these planets and Earth are striking. All three were once vibrant ecosystems teeming with life, and all three have been subjected to reptilian interference. But can anything be done to stop the harvest from progressing further? If there is a force working against the human race, then there is another force that is working for the human race. Now, let's elaborate on the impacts and implications of this galactic soul harvesting. The reptilians are collecting soul energy on a massive scale, using it to power their interdimensional ships, create advanced weapons, and manipulate the fabric of reality itself. Why are they doing this? Some believe that the reptilians are driven by a need to conquer and control, while others suggest that they are acting on behalf of a higher power, a dark force that seeks to dominate the entire galaxy. This influence may come from a power source not of this world, or perhaps a different dimension. It has been stated that the reptilians are being used. Can this harvest continue forever, or will the reptilians ultimately self-destruct, consumed by their own greed and lust for power? Many may argue that this cannot be happening throughout the galaxy, and that other galactic races are too advanced to fall victim to the reptilian agenda. But has the human race not proven that anything is possible? If anything is possible, then there is hope, and the Reclamation Galactic Alliance can assist. But which races are working with the Galactic Alliance to reclaim what was taken and restore balance to the galaxy? Are starseeds a part of this Galactic Alliance, assisting with the harvest to bring things back? Now, this is the account of races that are working together, and planets that are involved in this reclamation of souls. Many star systems connect with this, and provide different aspects of assistance. The Pleiadians, known for their gentle nature and healing abilities, are assisting in restoring the fragmented souls of those who have been affected by the reptilian agenda. The Arcturians, advanced beings from the Boots constellation, are providing technological and spiritual guidance to help protect against further soul harvesting. The Lemurians, considered to be the ancestors of many humanoid races in the galaxy, are offering their wisdom and experience in combating the reptilian threat. But are each of these planets coming together in unity? Will this unity be required for the light to be obtained? It is said that if the light is obtained and unity happens, then the reptilians may lose. Now, let us elaborate on why the system works and what each planet has to offer, and detail how the starseed system can reclaim what was lost. The Pleiadians offer healing energy, the Arcturians offer protection, and the Lemurians offer wisdom. Together, they form a powerful alliance that is capable of reclaiming what was lost and restoring balance to the galaxy. But how do they assist the starseeds? These are beings who have come to Earth from other star systems to assist humanity in its ascension. They possess unique abilities and knowledge that can help to awaken others to the reptilian agenda and reclaim their own soul energy. If this assistance is accepted, then ascension can take place. Detailing what it will take to accept this assistance will make it all more possible. Explain what will take place after ascension and what it may look like to the human race and what it may entail. What if the human race does not ascend? How will that play into the new divine Earth? It can be argued that these galactic planets are far too difficult to connect to, that it is too far out of reach, and what if it is all fake? What if this keeps the human race down and will always be used as a form of control? But what was the original purpose for these soul harvests? Was there a different intention in the beginning, and how has it been distorted over time? Now, this is the account of how this goal has influenced the galaxy. Some believe that the reptilians originally intended to use soul energy to create a unified galactic consciousness, a network of interconnected minds that would transcend the limitations of individual existence. However, this noble goal was corrupted by greed and lust for power, leading to the soul harvesting we see today. If all requirements were met, how could this spread throughout the galaxy? If the reptilians decided to choose light instead, what would happen to them? If this occurred, it has been stated that the energy across the galaxy would flourish. Now, let's elaborate on why this corruption would be destructive and the effects of that destruction. While the reptilians have the potential to become something great, their actions have caused so much damage that their timeline is dwindling as they are only preventing destruction. But what does that mean? It has been stated that if they shift out of the darkness and into the light, everything will align for them as well. Hope is not lost, however. The power has to be taken back. What is so special about Earth and the reptilians? What is it about the human race that the reptilians can't leave it alone? Has all hope been lost for the reptilians to ascend, or will they be trapped in a timeline of darkness forever? It can be argued that that power is far too dark to be stopped, and that what is happening on Earth has to be stopped. But with all of this being said, what is the timeline of hope and what does it require? Now, this is the account of what this timeline of hope requires and how it can be connected. If it cannot be connected, everything will be destroyed. The fate of all is at stake. This timeline requires a shift in consciousness, a collective awakening to the reptilian agenda, and a willingness to reclaim our own soul energy. It also requires forgiveness, compassion, and a commitment to building a better future for all beings, regardless of their race or origin. What steps can be taken to prevent destruction? Now, let's present what connection is required to create change. If the galactic code is not followed, this ascension and reclamation cannot be obtained and all is lost. The human race, by connecting with their higher selves and tapping into the power of unconditional love, can create a ripple effect that will spread throughout the galaxy. Each individual that reclaims their own soul energy contributes to the overall shift in consciousness, weakening the reptilian grip on power and opening the door to a new era of peace and harmony. If forgiveness is offered, will this assist? If the human race connects with the light and makes that decision, will this assist in breaking the darkness? Now, let's elaborate on this great battle that is taking place. The reptilian code continues to diminish. The goal of ascension is at hand. The timeline is merging with that of the new divine Earth. With everything said, the human race has all of the power to make the choice. To reclaim the power and light is what will shift everything into place. The power has always been there. But what about those who argue that evil will always exist? And can the reptilians ever learn that what they did was bad, and will they ever choose to change? In summary, we have explored soul harvesting, and if the galaxy is being affected, and what other races are working with the Galactic Alliance. Also, we dived into the original purpose for the harvests. In the conclusion, we will dive into that new Earth and see what it will take, but we're just scratching the surface. What key elements of the new divine Earth will be revealed in the next installment? Did you know that the reptilian agenda extends beyond the control of Earth and the harvesting of souls, reaching into the non-physical realm to manipulate the very cycle of reincarnation? What if the reptilians are not only exploiting the energy of human consciousness, but also trapping souls in a loop of suffering, perpetuating their power across lifetimes? Are souls simply being used as batteries, endlessly recycled to fuel the reptilian empire? Or is there a deeper, more sinister purpose to this cosmic exploitation? The core of this reptilian agenda is the control of the cycle of reincarnation, a concept shrouded in mystery and esoteric teachings. This is the ultimate dominion, the ability to dictate the fate of souls, ensuring their continued servitude. When a body dies, the soul, rather than ascending to a higher plane of existence, is ensnared, its memories wiped clean, ready to begin again in a new life, unaware of its past and its true potential. But if the memory is wiped, how can the reptilians be certain that the human will fall victim to the same manipulation? Now, let's delve into the esoteric accounts of this afterlife trap, echoed across various spiritual traditions, and whispered in alleged near-death experience (NDE) accounts. What if the comforting white light at the end of the tunnel is not a gateway to divine love, but a carefully constructed illusion, a reptilian beacon drawing souls into a pre-programmed cycle? Throughout the centuries, esoteric texts have described a false afterlife, a construct designed to keep souls tethered to the material plane, preventing them from reaching true liberation. But if this is an illusion, then what is on the other side of the tunnel? Is it a benevolent force, or something far more sinister? Now, let us elaborate on the reptilian methods for enforcing this reincarnation cycle, ensuring their continued control over the human soul. Once a soul ventures through the tunnel, about to reincarnate, they implant a program into that soul. This program ensures that they stay on the same dark path. It is important to note that this has been their cycle, and that is changing as ascension takes place, and the Reclamation Galactic Alliance has stepped in. They are farming these lives, preventing souls from connecting to the true source of creation, keeping them trapped in a cycle of karmic debt and illusion. If a soul breaks free from that reincarnation cycle, what lies beyond? And if souls have broken free, how has this affected the cycle itself? However, this prompts the argument that this is all far-fetched, and the afterlife is good and light. What makes it negative, and who is to say that the reptilians have this power? It has been stated that the reptilians do not have this power to override Source. Source is unconditional love and will only provide pure intent. The negativity comes from the reptilians. But what if this insidious control is not limited to Earth? What if the reptilian influence extends across the galaxy, trapping countless souls in similar cycles of reincarnation on other planets? Now, this is the account of how this soul recycling affects other planets in the galaxy, a web of control that spans across star systems. There are recycling systems on many different planets. It's not only reptilian, but the Archons have an implementation on those planets as well. Earth is not alone in its suffering. Other seed planets, rich in life and potential, are at risk of falling prey to this galactic harvesting. Planets such as Maldek and Mars, as discussed previously, are prime examples of races falling victim. The reptilians were assigned to that duty, by a higher power. The darkness continues to grow. Now, let's elaborate on the Archon influence and the destruction this creates, the forces working in tandem with the Reptilians to maintain this cycle of control. With soul recycling, spiritual growth is stifled, and consciousness remains trapped in a perpetual loop. The Archons, parasitic entities that thrive on negative energy, are fearful of growth, for it threatens their very existence. So this recycle code must continue, its purpose to diminish the power of creation and keep souls enslaved. What happens if the power is taken back and the cycle broken? Do the Archons have other avenues for obtaining more energy? If the Reclamation Alliance is able to succeed, what is to say that a new cycle will not be started by the darkness? But is there anyone working to stop the cycle, to reclaim what was lost and restore balance to the galaxy? Are there forces pushing back against the reptilian dominion, seeking to liberate souls and awaken consciousness? Now, this is the account of the Galactic Federation and Starseeds, forces assisting to reclaim what has been taken by the Reptilians, working for centuries and lifetimes to undo this cosmic injustice. This reclamation mission may soon be completed, with unity amongst all beings of light. As the saying goes, it only takes a light to diminish the darkness. If there is success, will all of humanity be affected? What does this reclamation entail, and how will it change the fate of the human soul? Now, let's detail the different methods of intent and what these galactic beings can do to reclaim what was lost, highlighting the crucial role of inner work in this process. It has to start within. The reclaiming must come from within. Without inner work, the light will not affect the planet or that soul. It will simply pass by, unable to penetrate the darkness. The Reptilians thrive on the lack of light, on fear, ignorance, and division. How can inner work take place? What steps can individuals take to break free from the cycle of control and reclaim their spiritual sovereignty? How can it be completed, and what does this completion look like? However, with all that has been mentioned, what is this shift, this great awakening that is said to be upon us? What will it truly entail, and what will it require of humanity? Now, this is the account of reclaiming Source, connecting to the divine spark within each of us, and activating unity consciousness. Without a connection to Source, humanity will continue to fall, trapped in the reptilian cycle of manipulation and control. But if unity is obtained and connection to Source is made, all will be illuminated, bathed in the light of truth and liberation. How has the Source been disconnected, and how can we change that? What steps can be taken to prepare for connection, to open ourselves to the divine energy that flows through all of creation? Now, let's elaborate on all the light and the shift, envisioning the planets illuminated with a great energetic surge, a cosmic reset that will transform reality as we know it. The Source is prepared to assist humanity, as they have chosen this path before coming to Earth. All is about to change, with a timeline shift that will usher in a new era of peace, harmony, and spiritual awakening. The world will rejoice with its ascension, celebrating the triumph of light over darkness. It will be a victory for the true divine Source. In summary, the Reptilians control the recycle, seeking to farm and harvest souls, but there is a galactic shift about to occur, and the system is changing. In the conclusion, we will dive into that new Earth and see what it will take. But what is truly on the other side of the tunnel? Prepare yourself, for the shocking revelations to come will challenge everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality and the future of humanity. Did you know that the reptilian pursuit of dominance extends even into the realm of cloning, where they seek to circumvent the natural order of life and death, stealing souls? What if the Draco Empire believes it can achieve immortality by replicating bodies and transferring consciousness, perpetuating their reign across millennia? Are the Reptilians seeking to not only control the physical realm, but also to conquer the very essence of existence through artificial means? The core of this reptilian agenda is the achievement of immortality, a goal they believe can be attained through the manipulation of cloning technology. While they have manipulated souls and sought dominance over the physical realm, the reptilians understand that their physical bodies are vulnerable. Cloning, therefore, represents a path to lasting control, a way to sidestep the limitations of a mortal existence. Different entities have attempted this throughout history, and some believe that Atlantis achieved this, but they ultimately failed. But if cloning is the key, why has it failed in the past? Now, this is the account of cloning and its importance. The reptilians seek to connect the human race to the reptilian soul, believing that through this connection, they can extend their influence and power. Physical cloning is a crucial step in this process, as it provides the vessels needed to house reptilian consciousness. Cloned bodies are stronger and can avoid disease and death. By inhabiting these enhanced forms, the reptilians believe they can overcome their vulnerabilities and perpetuate their existence. What happens to the original soul during the process? Now, let's elaborate on what the cloning entails. Not all clones are necessarily under reptilian control, and that's where soul snatching comes into play. When a reptilian entity is on the verge of death, it will snatch a human soul and insert its own into a clone body, ensuring the continuation of its consciousness. The ultimate goal is to have reptilian entities live forever, effectively eradicating human entities from the cycle. Is this plan succeeding, or is humanity's light a deterrent to this dark ambition? Is humanity's free will too strong to dominate with this cloning technique? However, some may argue that there is no physical proof of this cloning agenda, that it is merely a conspiracy theory without any basis in reality. It has been stated that lack of physical proof does not equate to lack of reality. The reptilians are highly advanced, and their methods are often cloaked in secrecy, making it difficult to obtain concrete evidence. They use soul snatching to take what is not theirs and keep it under their control. But with all of that in place, how has cloning affected the timelines on Earth, and what is the reptilian intention in manipulating this process? What if the reptilian agenda is not just about individual immortality, but about reshaping the very fabric of reality to suit their desires? Now, this is the account of clone souls. These souls often have no recollection of their true origins or potential. Such clone souls do not possess the same abilities as true, organic souls, lacking the innate connection to the source of creation. Without this light, the ultimate power move for the reptilians is to make a trade with the Archons, offering these soulless vessels in exchange for greater power and influence. Is this why the Archons are aligned with the reptilians, and will it cause an even further grip on humanity? Now let's detail what this process entails, from the implantation of the clone soul to the manipulation of its code. Once the clone soul has been implanted, a specific code is put in place, dictating its thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. However, not all reptilian souls necessarily agree on this agenda, creating internal conflicts and power struggles. The ultimate goal is to remove the organic structure of the soul and replace it entirely with a machine construct, a fully controllable entity devoid of free will. But with a soul code in place, do these cloned souls become easily manipulated and controlled, essentially puppets in the hands of the reptilian elite? Do they lack the ability to question or resist their programming? However, some may argue that there is no physical proof of any of this, and this is all just a theory. It has been said that there does not need to be any physical proof. It just has to be known within your soul. However, all of these points have focused on physicality. What if the reptilian agenda extends beyond the physical realm, affecting higher dimensional entities? Is it true that reptilians are not merely physical beings, but also interdimensional entities, capable of manipulating reality across multiple dimensions? Now, This is the account of soul transfer technology and how all dimensions are interconnected, an intricate web of consciousness manipulated by the Reptilians. If a clone body lacks the same genetic code as the original, organic body, it creates a disconnect in the higher dimensions. The Reptilian plan is to use soul and memory uploading for complete control, effectively digitizing consciousness and trapping it within their system. But if this manipulation increases, is it possible for it to be reversed, reclaiming the stolen souls and restoring balance to the dimensions? With all that is known, what can the human race do to take the power back, to sever the connection to the reptilian grid and reclaim their spiritual sovereignty? Does this have to start from within? Now, let's elaborate on all aspects of this galactic unity shift and what it could possibly entail, a convergence of consciousness that could shatter the reptilian control grid. The system that has been in place for millennia is changing, giving way to a new era of unity and ascension. This shift can assist in overcoming the reptilian agenda, empowering humanity to break free from their cycle of manipulation. However, it's never too late for it all to change, for the reptilians to adapt and devise new strategies for maintaining their power. What is on the other side of unity, and how does the human race fully prepare for what is to come, ensuring that the shift is one of true liberation and not merely a transition to a new form of enslavement? In summary, we have explored the reptilian pursuit of clones, their manipulation of souls, and the higher dimensional soul transfer taking place to maintain immortality. It is all interlinked, and that is changing due to ascension. We have been diving into this agenda, and we have the ultimate chance for timelines to shift and a new Earth to be created. What will that truly look like? Is there hope? This will be explored in the conclusion. Prepare yourself, for the shocking revelations to come will challenge everything you thought you knew about the future of humanity and its place in the cosmos. Did you know that within each of you lies a power so immense, so profound, that it is the very key to unlocking your freedom? What if the reptilians' greatest fear is not our technology, our weapons, or our numbers, but the boundless potential of the human soul, a spark of divinity that can ignite a revolution of consciousness? What if this revolution is the only way to truly break free from their control? The core of this inherent power lies in its unbreakable connection to the source of creation, a bond that transcends physical limitations and dimensional barriers. This soul power, a divine gift, holds the capacity to reshape reality, to rewrite the very code that governs our existence. History is filled with those who have tapped into this power, individuals who defied oppression, challenged the status quo, and ignited movements that transformed the world. Think of Joan of Arc, who, guided by unwavering faith, led armies to victory against all odds. Or Mahatma Gandhi, whose peaceful resistance dismantled an empire. Or Nelson Mandela, who, after decades of imprisonment, emerged to unite a divided nation. What about these souls allowed for that impact in humanity, and what did they tap into that we can now tap into? Now, this is the account of how each of you can begin to access this reservoir of strength, this wellspring of divine potential. The first step is to consciously shift into unity consciousness, to recognize the interconnectedness of all beings, the fundamental truth that we are all part of a single, universal whole. This shift requires a deliberate effort to transcend the limitations of the ego, to move beyond the illusion of separation, and embrace a sense of oneness with all that is. How can we accomplish this profound transformation, and what tools can we use to facilitate this journey inward? Now, let's elaborate on some practical techniques that can assist you in making this shift. Meditation, the practice of quieting the mind and focusing inward, allows you to connect with your higher self, the divine essence that resides within. The Akashic Records, a cosmic library containing the entire history of every soul, can be accessed through focused intention and skilled guidance, providing insights into your past lives, your soul's purpose, and the lessons you are meant to learn. Soul Journey Work, a guided exploration of your inner landscape, can help you to heal past traumas, release limiting beliefs, and align with your true potential. Soul work focuses on conscious and subconscious rewriting of the human soul code. Can these methods provide a roadmap for your journey, and will they lead you to the awakening that awaits you? Now let's highlight what happens and what this shift truly means. If someone can make that shift to the higher level of connection with the universe, then nothing can stop them. Is this difficult? How is it overcome? What happens to the body and soul? Are you able to access things you were not able to access before? Consider those who have achieved enlightenment throughout history, from the Buddha to Jesus, individuals who transcended the limitations of the physical realm and tapped into a source of infinite wisdom and power. They demonstrated the extraordinary potential that lies dormant within each of us, the ability to heal, to create, and to manifest reality in accordance with our highest intentions. But is it truly possible for ordinary individuals to achieve this level of mastery, or is it a feat reserved for a chosen few? However, some may argue that it is hard to make that connection with the higher self, and the reptilians have taken that ability. While the reptilians have undoubtedly sought to suppress human potential, to sever our connection to the divine, they have not succeeded in extinguishing the flame of the soul. The human spirit remains resilient, unyielding, capable of overcoming any obstacle, of transcending any limitation. Did you know that the human race is evolving and will be able to tap into levels that were never there before? Now that there is a higher connection, what does this mean for what is beyond the earthly realm? Can they see entities from other planets assisting? What if the shift in consciousness opens a gateway to the stars, allowing us to connect with benevolent beings from other planets, entities who have long been watching and waiting for humanity to awaken? What if these galactic allies are ready to offer their guidance, their technology, and their wisdom to assist us in breaking free from the reptilian grip and ushering in a new era of peace and prosperity? Now, this is the account of how the galaxies connect to Earth and are multidimensional. It is possible to contact other higher dimensional beings. However, the reptilians put code in place to avoid it. Now, we're moving out of reptilian control. Our galaxy is teeming with life, with countless civilizations existing on different dimensional planes, each with its own unique perspective and level of consciousness. It is believed that certain planets and beings are aligned with the light, dedicated to assisting humanity in its ascension. The Pleiadians, known for their compassionate nature and their advanced spiritual wisdom, are said to offer guidance and healing. The Arcturians, highly evolved beings from a fifth-dimensional civilization, are believed to possess advanced healing technologies and a deep understanding of the universe. Are these galactic neighbors ready to lend a helping hand, and what role do they play in humanity's awakening? Is this why reptilian code is in the way? Now, let's elaborate on why it is difficult to connect to those galactic beings, and what are they looking to bring? Does that shift have to occur first, and what is now needed for that access to become a reality? Show ways to ensure that connection. The code is to separate and avoid galactic connection, but this can be overturned with a new plan and unity amongst all. Is there any protection needed for that connection to occur? The primary obstacle to galactic connection is the reptilian-imposed veil of separation, a vibrational barrier that distorts our perception and prevents us from seeing the truth. This veil is maintained through a constant barrage of fear-based programming, designed to keep humanity trapped in a state of low-frequency consciousness. The key to overcoming this obstacle is to raise our vibration, to cultivate feelings of love, joy, gratitude, and compassion. By focusing on these positive emotions, we can begin to dissolve the veil and open ourselves to galactic contact. Are there specific practices or protocols that can help us navigate this process? And are there any potential risks involved in opening ourselves to these higher dimensional connections? However, some may argue that it is all too difficult to connect to those galactic beings. Yes, there is code in place, but it is not set in stone, and the code is rewriting at an alarming pace. Unity amongst one another can open this code like nothing before. This unity makes it difficult for the Reptilians to stay in control. So, there is a new plan being put in place with this unity. Now is the time. If the galaxy is required, is it possible for humanity to connect as a whole? What if the key to unlocking our collective potential lies not only in connecting with galactic beings, but also in integrating the shadow aspects of our own being, the hidden parts of ourselves that we have disowned and suppressed? What if this integration is essential for achieving true unity and ascending to a higher level of consciousness? Now, this is the account of why there is difficulty. The shadow body has not been integrated. Detail what this means, and if they are not at peace, that connection to the galaxy will not take place. The reptilian code is to never look at shadow. The shadow represents all that we have rejected, denied, or suppressed within ourselves. Our fears, our insecurities, our anger, our pain. It is the repository of our unresolved traumas, our limiting beliefs, and our self-sabotaging patterns. When we fail to acknowledge and integrate our shadow, it operates unconsciously, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways that undermine our well-being and prevent us from reaching our full potential. Why do we resist facing these darker aspects of ourselves, and what are the consequences of this resistance? Now, let's elaborate on the benefits if there is harmony between the light and the shadow. That makes ascension easier. Is this the ultimate trick? When we embrace our shadow, we reclaim the energy that has been bound up in suppression, freeing it to be used for creation, for healing, and for growth. We develop greater self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and compassion for ourselves and others. By integrating our shadow, we become whole, authentic, and empowered to live in alignment with our true purpose. Is this ascension even easier if we have light and shadow harmony? Now, let's detail all the ways to go about doing it. Show how there is potential for unity of the shadow and light. If you connect to the higher purpose, show reptilians were once those beings of light and are being punished by the archons. Can reptilians also make this change, if they look at what was created? Can the shadow also move into the light? One powerful technique is shadow work, a guided process of exploring and integrating the disowned aspects of ourselves. This involves identifying our triggers, examining our limiting beliefs, and challenging our self-sabotaging patterns. Another technique is mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. By observing our inner landscape with curiosity and compassion, we can begin to understand the roots of our shadow and release its grip on our lives. But is it possible for even the reptilians, those seemingly malevolent beings, to undergo this process of transformation, to reclaim their lost light and embrace their shadow? However, some may argue that it is too dark, and this would give more power to the reptilian force. That the reptilian force is the shadow. While there may be a fear of empowering the reptilian force, this is a light entity and needs to be seen. With integration, they may become neutral and understand. Are they so far gone that there is no turning back? There are things within, and there is galactic access. What does all of this truly mean for the human race? What if the integration of light and shadow, combined with galactic connection, paves the way for the emergence of a new divine Earth, a reality where love, peace, and harmony prevail? What if this ascension is not just a personal journey, but a collective one, leading to the transformation of our entire planet? Now, this is the account of why there is ascension to a new dimension, where love and light is the norm, where nothing can be tainted, where the higher self truly is connected, and the galactic forces are assisting to ensure the soul. The timeline you are about to journey to is filled with higher frequencies, new abilities, and zero limitations. A timeline where the soul truly roams without restrictions. Picture, if you will, a world where the air is clean and vibrant, the water is crystal clear, and the land is teeming with life. Where communities thrive in harmony with nature, where technology is used for the benefit of all, and where creativity and innovation flourish. Where nothing can be tainted or touched. This new divine Earth is not just a utopian fantasy. It is a potential reality, waiting to be co-created by a humanity that has awakened to its true potential. But is this vision truly attainable, and what role do we play in bringing it into being? Now, let's look at the higher self-power and what the plan is, and how can it assist. This higher entity is looking to change code, and the human race will come out on top. They are the most powerful in the entire galaxy, and were lied to this entire time. That is what it means to ascend into a new paradigm and dimension, where one has all the power. It can change everything, and we can connect with the new divine Earth. The higher self, the divine spark within each of us, is the key to unlocking this new reality. By connecting with our higher self, we gain access to infinite wisdom, unconditional love, and the power to manifest our dreams. This higher entity is ready to guide us, to support us, and to empower us to create a world that reflects our highest aspirations. But how do we prepare ourselves for this profound transformation, and what must we release in order to fully embrace our higher self? However, some may argue as why would we want to go to this light, when there has been so much devastation? Even with this devastation, the light will always shine through. With this integration, all will fall to the light. Have trust, for it will come together like never before. In summary, we explored the inherent power of the soul, why that power needs to be obtained through unity consciousness and what exists beyond Earth. To highlight, a reclamation must take place, which can only happen when light and shadow is in harmony. But will humanity finally stand together against the reptilian force? Now to the finale and make the connections. Detail what must be known and highlight all points. Detail how to achieve this shift, and the higher entity will be waiting. What you must realize is that the reptilian agenda has been all the while to divide and conquer the human race. Now, there is a chance of peace. What will the final look be? As we reach the end of our exploration into the Draco Empire, we find ourselves at a critical juncture in understanding not only their influence, but also the choices that lie before humanity. What we have covered has provided you with the tools needed to recognize the reptilian agenda, understand the potential for awakening, and make the ultimate connection to your divine self. What if all the questions we've asked have been resolved, not by definitive answers, but by the choices you now feel empowered to make? Now, let's reiterate the central theme. The ongoing battle between the reptilian agenda, which seeks control and division, and humanity's inherent potential for unity, love, and conscious evolution. How does power win from within? Is it true that the ultimate goal is control? These are the questions that now linger in your mind as you navigate the complexities of this reality. The truth is, the power to shift this balance lies within each of you. Are you willing to wield it? Now, let's describe the potential reality that awaits us if we choose the path of awakening, a new divine Earth. But let's detail the potential of this, and that it does not have to be followed if connection is not made to the divine. The reptilian code still is the dominant factor if we do not come together. In this timeline, a new world emerges, a reality where love, peace, and harmony prevail. It is a world where humanity has transcended the limitations of fear and separation, embracing its true potential as co-creators of a reality aligned with the divine. Now, consider this. To truly connect to the divine light, All codes of separation and control must be released. What needs to come together within you to make this connection a reality? Now, let's explain that this is when humanity makes a jump, a quantum leap into a higher dimension of consciousness. This jump requires us to fully embrace our divine potential. Can we truly overcome the reptilian influence, and is it all worth it? List ye, O man, for the decision is ultimately up to the human race, and many in positions of power have already made their choice. Will you join them in the light, or will you remain bound by the chains of control? Now, what if there is a vision of galactic harmony? Let's look at the emotional resolution. The reptilians are also healed and integrated into a galactic community of love and light. But if we have not yet connected to the light, a constant pull for control and power will dominate. However, there is hope for these beings. However, the journey to redemption is not an easy one. It requires them to confront their own darkness, to release their attachment to power, and to embrace the path of love and compassion. But what does the ascension process look like for these beings, and what challenges will they encounter along the way? Now, let's describe the ascension process for the reptilians. They have been manipulated by the archons for millennia, their true nature distorted and twisted. Once they are separated from this influence, they have a chance to reclaim their free will and choose a different path. However, this process is greatly influenced by the decisions of humanity. How humans make decisions is the greatest influence. If we show them light, will they follow or stay in the dark? This light will guide them to salvation or deeper into destruction. What will the journey entail if they connect to the light? Now, let's emphasize that galactic harmony cannot be achieved until all beings are free from suffering and are operating from a place of love. What if you, the human race, now go within, connect to the light, and look for a different timeline to follow, one where peace reigns and all beings are treated with dignity and respect? Now, more than ever, is the time to look for decisions to be at peace within. Make no mistake, the choices you make today will determine the fate of not only humanity, but also the entire galaxy. Now, what if galactic access has been made? Detailed to connect to others from above, there is a war that must take place in the light, and those can be completed if the light beings are contacted. Know this, unity within that shift will allow for greatness. What this truly means is the potential to provide connection from above, ensuring this shift can occur together, so there will never be a way to avoid reptilians and a false existence. Now, let's highlight the importance of shifting and what that truly looks like. Can you envision what the higher self is looking to achieve? The higher self is ready to assist with the process. Know this, the integration you have begun is to not be taken lightly. What happens next will be up to you. Now that you are at this precipice of this knowledge, let's get some feedback from you. What parts made sense and what parts left you more confused? Are you ready to ascend to the higher planes? Tell us below. May the eternal light always guide you.